back for this game. He missed the Utah game with a sprained ankle. I'll talk to you guys throughout the day.
All right, Brian, that is Jeff McCord, and we are underway here in Norman. It is a wobbly kick, and it'll go out of the end zone. And the Oklahoma Sooners and their offense will begin 1st and 10 from their own 20. At quarterback, the redshirt freshman out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, Jason Fuente. He started his first game against San Diego State a couple of weeks ago, has showed steady improvement. He replaced Eric Moore, who started at quarterback last year, the first game this year, but Moore was much maligned at the QB position. And so Fuente has come in. And the last couple of weeks, the Sooners have shown they are able to put points on the board. Fuente is going to go up top right off the bat, and it is incomplete, intended for Jason Freeman. Let's take a look at the Oklahoma offense. Gerald Williams, the flanker, the 6'2 sophomore from Decatur, Georgia. Coaches are expecting him to have a big game any day. They're waiting for him to break out. And on the offensive line, Bruce McClure at the center position. He is their best offensive lineman, no question about it, and their best blocker all around. We'll look at Kansas's defense in a moment. 2nd and 10 for the Sooners. They try to keep it on the ground. Picking up 2, it is James Allen. And the defense for Kansas, it is one that has also struggled. They are 70th in the NCAA in total defense. Brett McGraw is at the nose tackle position. That is who Glenn Mason said everything will revolve around today. And as Brian Nooner mentioned, Ronnie Ward is back. He will help that linebacking core. And Maurice Gaddy at the strong safety position. He is their leading tackler. On 3rd down, the Sooners' James Allen tries to get the first down, but he will be about a half a yard short. Now with the business out of the way, let's take a look at Allen.
That play right there, you see the offensive line is really blocking pretty good. The 73, he blocks down, and that way the running back can come right up the middle. That's what you call a belly play. It comes straight up the gut. Sometimes those plays go for big yards, sometimes they go for nothing.
Well, the Oklahoma Sooners actually thought about going for it on 4th and about a foot, but they decided not to try it. With a young defense, you can't afford to put them in any type of hole so early on in a game. Back to kick it is Brian Lewis, and he gets off a high one, but it's going to be short. Sooners get a pretty good bounce on it. It'll be marked at about the 33-yard line. And that is where the Kansas offense will begin after the 39-yard kick. No return. There you see Matt Johnner. They're thought to be a quarterback controversy as they went into spring between Johnner and Ben Roots, the transfer from Nebraska. But Roots tore an ACL, and that allowed Johnner to step into that starting position at QB. You can see the numbers on him. He also had some injury problems during the spring. 1st and 10, ball on about the 33. Johnner, play action. The southpaw lets it fly. Almost picked off. Intended for Isaac Byrd, but Anthony Fogle, the 5'11 senior out of Houston, Texas, almost picked it off.
That's one thing that KU planned on doing, is doing a lot of play action. The play action really hurts Oklahoma because they really flow to the ball. And once they flow to the ball very well, but the guy outside 93 keeps good contained. The receiver, that's the ball really, I say it's not catchable, but he broke up the play, so it wasn't an interception. That's a good play by the receiver.
Well, Pat Rule, their offensive coordinator, telling me earlier this week that because the OU secondary is susceptible to a lot of fakes, they would try a lot of that play action passing. Here's our first look at June Henley, the 5'11 senior out of Columbus, Ohio. His real name is Charles. June is short for junior, they tell us. And the offense, Isaac Byrd, the wide receiver, the senior. He has 10 receptions already this year out of St. Louis, Missouri. Jim Stiebel is the center. He was a guard last year. He anchors that defense, or he is a guard now, was a center last year. And we'll look at the Sooner defense in a moment. 3rd down and 4 for Kansas. Johnner from the shotgun. The quick look-in pass. Is it picked off? Incomplete. Again intended for Isaac Byrd. Broderick Simpson, who was suspended for last week's game against Tulsa, came up with a stop. And Eric, you have to think that that does wonders for the defense's confidence.
That does great wonders for the defense's confidence. One thing, that's a quick slant. It's right quick. It's almost like a timing pattern. 1, 2, 3 step and throw the football. The receiver should have had that ball. Once it hits you in the hands, you have to hold on to it. That was a big play right there.
Well, Bill Young, the defensive coordinator for Oklahoma, said, we're going to come after him today. This is Dean Royal. Jarrell Jackson is going to field it on the 22. Slips one tackle, heads to his right. Picks up 3 on the play up to the 25, and that's where the Sooners will begin. No score. We're in the first quarter. Big 12 football will return after these local messages.
On the next Entertainment Tonight, Madonna's exclusive Evita Diaries.
She said, now I understand why most actors are either alcoholics, drug addicts, or Scientologists.
From her never-before-seen photos to her baby news.
She talks about the first time she actually gets to look at the baby.
Then why Gwyneth Paltrow is hitting the high society circuit. Plus, from soaps to the sand, the hunks from General Hospital and Baywatch share their sexy secrets on Entertainment Tonight.
Monday night at 6:30 on TV9.
The strength and beauty of a thoroughbred, the power of a Vortec engine, the ride of a champion, the comfort of a roomy interior. And right now is a great time to get all the power, grace, and style of a 96 Sierra by GMC. Now, before the 96 model year comes to an end, Sierra by GMC. See your Oklahoma GMC dealer today.
You know, life's unfair. Showing you these freshly baked Pizza Hut pizzas when you're this hungry? A choice of 12 toppings, piping hot, 3 amazing crusts, unbearably tempting. It's just not fair. But at least these prices are. $7.99 for a medium pizza with 1 topping or $12.99 for 2. Pick up the phone and call us. What's that? Oh, you've already ordered from somewhere else, have you? Well, it's just not your day, is it, my man?
Losing streak. Straight back to pass. The Sooners completed up over the 50 to Michael McDaniel. Fuente could have hung some clothes on that rope.
That was a nice pass by Fuente. That was a real nice pass, a tight pass. He had plenty of time. He set up. That was a nice pass.
Michael McDaniel, what a story. Here's a man that had a cracked pelvis last year, and he's, even as of this summer, he was not going to play football. He is a licensed minister. Pickup of 28 on the play. Sooners tried on the ground inside the 45 down to the 43-yard line is Damon Parker, the young red shirt freshman who is averaging nearly 10 yards a carry.
This is the guy they're really excited about, is Damon Parker, because he has real quick feet. You look right here, this play, it really is designed to go inside or outside. He bounces outside. That's what makes him so dangerous, because he has those quick feet to take the ball outside. Talking to him, he said he thinks he can get over 1,000 yards this year.
The coaches like him, but they are cautiously optimistic. Fuente back to pass, has some time, throws it to no one. That has to be intentional grounding. There was nobody within 20 yards of the football.
Well, I think that was a smart play, actually, myself, to throw it away.
Now, Chris Jones put the pressure on him. That is referee John Laurie out of Springfield, Missouri.
I thought maybe it was just a busted play. The receiver meant to go that way, but he didn't.
Well, we talked about how they had 105 yards in penalties last week against Tulsa.
Intentional grounding, offense, 5-yard penalty, spot a foul, loss of down.
And that hurts. Now you're looking at a 3rd down and about 17 to go.
See, that's a lot of pressure up front, right up front. It comes right from the front. One thing about the guys up front, they have to protect the quarterback from the middle. The quarterback sometimes expects the pocket to close in from the outside, but you always want to keep that front, the middle, very solid up front so he can see downfield.
That was really a 13-yard penalty as the flags fly again. That Sooner offensive line jumping around, and it is a young offensive line, and the coach is telling us yesterday that in all the years, one coach, Merv Johnson, who's been here since 1979, the Switzer, said this is the most inexperienced he's ever seen on an offensive line since he's been here.
Yes, he did say that yesterday. That young guard jumped around. You have to have an experienced offensive line to really get the job done. You want the guys up front to play together, to really know each other, know the cadence, to know what the guy next to you can do.
That brings up a 3rd and 23 situation. Fuente straight drop. Here come the Jayhawks. Has to scramble. He has a man. It is complete to Chris Blocker. He's able to get back to the original line of scrimmage, but the Sooners will be forced to kick it away again.
Chris Blocker, number 24.
What really helped that play, believe it or not, was the backside running back. He really made a nice block. Damon Parker, that's one thing the coaches said that they had to make him work on was his blocking.
Well, once again, the Sooners waiting to the last possible minute to kick it away. Brian Lewis, the punter, had a 40-yarder earlier. Isaac Bird set to receive it. He stands on his own 10-yard line. Good snap. And the kick is a high one. Bird's calling a fair catch. And he's got it right at about the 9. A 37-yard kick for Brian Lewis. And Kansas will begin 1st and 10 from their own 10. We'll be back right after this word from Dr. Pepper, proud sponsor of the Big 12 championship game.
Together we are better than we could ever be alone. We'll be a team forever. The world is ours to own. You're a part of me, the heart of me. Dr. Pepper, you're a part of me.
It's back.
This alive.
SE5.
Gotta go for a ride.
Customized with air, cassette stereo, sliding rear window, alloy wheels, and chrome bumpers.
Yeah, six alive.
Mazda SE5.
Let me go for a ride.
Just $11,995. Or lease for $189 a month, $1,000 down.
Just let me go for a ride.
Mazda.
Got a passion for the road.
The legendary SE5.
So you want to know what's on my Discover Card statement? I'm a camp cook, and a bad one, but I've got a good stove. Well, the toughest thing about buying a wetsuit is trying them on.
How many credit cards make a statement like that? It pays to discover.
So he says to the queen bee, it's none of your business. You know.
Read us another one, Daddy.
Take a moment and make a memory from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
In the last 13 years, the Oklahoma Sooners have only been underdogs here at home 7 times. They're the underdog today, but so far, the game is scoreless. We've played just about 4 minutes here in the first quarter. Kansas with the ball. June Henley, the lone running back, and he has the pigskin. Crosses the 10, and he is going to be gang tackled after a pickup of 2. Kansas, Eric, wanted to establish the run, but they were very concerned about a 2nd and 8, a 3rd and 6 type of situation. Oklahoma's doing exactly what they needed to do. Stop them on 1st down.
You can see right there they're going to run the football. They have 2 tight ends. Anytime you have 2 tights, that is really a run set with 2 wide receivers. The tight ends are really because you can run right or left, and that is really just a run set.
We'd like to apologize for any audio problems we have. We understand there's a little satellite problem, so it's about 25,000 miles up. We're sending a technician up there as soon as we can. Johnner back to pass, has a man good for the 1st down. It is John Gordon, the true freshman out of West Palm Beach, Florida. That is his 2nd reception this year. Let's take a look at that young Oklahoma defense. Only 2 defensive players really have any type of experience in the backfield. The key is Rod Manuel, the defensive left end. He has to be able to contain June Henley. Containment, a big key for OU today. And at the linebacker position, Tyrell Peters, his uncles Tony and Terry both played at Oklahoma. The pitch. Up over the 30, breaking a tackle up to the 35-yard line. It is Henley. That was an excellent spin move.
That was an excellent run.
Terry White not able to wrap him up from the strong safety spot. Finally brought down by Ganna Joseph, number 29, the sophomore out of Miami, Florida.
That's just a quick toss play. Most running backs like that play because it gets them outside real quick. And it's on the defensive back to make the tackle on that, the cornerback. If he comes up to make that hit, he misses the hit, that could be adios.
You can see Henley has more yards rushing the football than 5 teams, including the Oklahoma Sooners. 1st and 10. Johnner's going to roll to his left and put it up. He's going for the home run toss. He has a receiver, and it is incomplete. John Gordon was able to get a step behind Raymond Burrows, the right cornerback. Johnner not able to get him the ball. Coming into this year, Johnner attempted only 9 passes prior to 1996. He also had some injury problems this spring, able to overcome them. And this offense really had a lot of question marks coming into the spring. First and foremost was this quarterback position. 2nd and 10. Johnner, the little shuttle pass up the middle, good for the 1st down and a couple to spare. Ghana Joseph again having to come up from that free safety position to stop June Henley. Now that is a pass. It is not a lateral.
Right. Most runners will hope you wish you get that yard for rushing, but that's passing yards. That play's a very good play. One reason that you watch the defensive line, they go inside, outside, and that gives the offensive line time to block them down. They get a chance to block them inside, and the play goes outside, around the corner.
1st and 10. Again, Henley, but we have whistles. The Kansas offense has been able to score in every quarter of every game this year. That would bode well considering the history between these two teams the last 4 years. In that last 4-year span, Kansas has never scored in the first quarter.
Dead ball. False start offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
John Blake looking to stop the skid. The Oklahoma Sooners on the verge of having 3 straight non-winning seasons. That's the first time since 1931-34 that has happened. But John Blake was so impressive yesterday talking to us. He has the big picture in clear focus, no question.
He knows that he has to recruit well. That's the most important thing. You talk to the players say that he's a very good recruiter.
They converge on Henley, and they're going to drop him for a loss. The first hit by Rod Manuel, and Eric, we talked about that containment. Rod Manuel did exactly what John Blake and defensive coordinator Bill Young had hoped for.
You have to contain all the great players. A running back, his best friend is outside because he knows that's where daylight is. If he can get outside and get turned upfield running full speed, he really has a chance. If you can get guys in the backfield, in his face, it really disrupts the play a lot.
This offense, led by Matt Johnner, averaged 43 points a game, 4th in the NCAA. 2nd down and about 19. Johnner has a lot of time, throws over the middle, and it is incomplete. Intended for Jim Moore, the tight end. Moore, the 2-time academic all-conference. He's a big one at 6'3", 250 pounds, out of Garden City, Kansas. Johnner had exceptional time. And Baird, you spent some time with Kenny Pope, one of your former coaches who actually played here at Oklahoma, and he was concerned, I think, about the rush somewhat.
Well, he said that they don't really have the pass rush they would really like to have to put the pressure up front. That's why it's really hard on the defensive backs. They're young guys, and they have to have the pass rush up front. They will also have to blitz. That's very important. They have to blitz them to give those guys time.
37% is Kansas' conversion rate in 3rd down. OU wanted to stay away from big plays. Kansas looking on 3rd and 19. Johnner scrambling, will be done. Only the 7th sack of the year for this Sooner defense. Travian Smith, the defensive right end, who was a linebacker, the junior out of Tatum, Texas, comes up with his first sack of the year.
You look right here on the replay, they had everything covered. They had the defense, they really put pressure on. The quarterback had a lot of time, but all of a sudden, when all the receivers are covered, he's looking, nowhere to go, and the defense really made that play. The defensive line played very well on that play, putting pressure on the quarterback.
Dean Royal set to kick it away, a high spiral. Fielded on the 20. Up to the 35-yard line. The Sooners with good field position. Jarrell Jackson, who had been averaging just a shade under 11 yards a return, gets 16 on that one, following the punt of 41 yards.
I think he had a chance to take this play all the way when you look back at it.
Well, they were having trouble with their punt return. He almost fumbled it there, but Rodney Rideau.
But right here, one of the Oklahoma players was really playing heads up. He had a guy in front of him. He did not hit him in the back, and he let the guy just go right by Jackson.
Rideau was having problems with punts. That's why they went to Jackson, and he has been successful. Parker heads to the right side, crosses the 40 up to about the 41-yard line before Patrick Brown corrals him.
Number 33.
That's that sprint draw that we talked about yesterday with the coaches. They really like to run that sprint draw. You start left and come back right, or you start right and come back left. It really gives the running back a lot of play on the field. He can go up the middle, outside, but preferably that play really goes outside, off tackle play.
Justin Fuente playing without his big tight end, Steven Alexander. All Big 8 conference last year. Parker and Rose in the backfield now for the Sooners. Fuente throws it into the flat. Is it complete? Good for a first down. Into Kansas territory is Brandon Daniels. the true freshman who was a quarterback in high school out of Ada, Oklahoma. That time the offensive line has given Fuente some time. And talking yesterday to their offensive coordinator, Dick Winder, he said we have to almost simplify things at times to give them time.
Well, they're really giving him time. What they're doing is they're doubling up inside because they're really not bringing a lot of guys. One thing about Kansas, they really do play an 8-man front. They don't bring a lot of guys up front. So that's why Oklahoma's having some success throwing the football.
Wide open, looking for pay dirt. It is Parker out of the backfield. Cuts back, still on his feet, down to the 17-yard line. Yards on the play. How did Damon Parker get wide open to pick up 32, Eric? He was all alone.
Someone should have been spying him. I don't know how he got out of the backfield so clean, because a guy like that, he's dangerous. You have to have someone on him at all times. One thing about Fuente, he has a very strong arm. I mean, he really does have a nice pass on that ball.
Oklahoma knocking on the door with 7:05 left in the first. Fuente again, knocked down. Fuente is not short. He is 6'2", 220 pounds, but right smack in the middle. Patrick Brown, number 47, the sophomore from Westerville, Ohio, is extremely quick. Got his hand up.
I don't think he's a freshman, but he plays with a lot of poise for a freshman.
Now the Sooners facing 2nd down and 10. Lone setback. Oklahoma with 3 wide receivers to the right. Fuente's going to go upstairs again. Into the end zone, looking for 6. Touchdown, Oklahoma! Chris Blocker, the 6'1" sophomore out of Houston, Texas, with his first touchdown reception of the year. For Fuente, that is number 3 on the season, and it covered 16 yards. Jeremy Alexander on to tack on the extra point. He's 6 of 7 this year. Was a Lou Groza semifinalist last season. He splits the uprights, and the Oklahoma Sooners delight the crowd of 60,000 plus. They draw first blood, 6:52 left in the first. OU leads at 7-0.
You're the one I can count on day after day. There's no second guessing. Show me the way. You're a part of me. That's the heart of me. Together we are harmony. Dr. Pepper, you're a part, you're the part.
Science! Hey, want to see some cool things?
Where?
At the Smithsonian. Some famous flyers! To four-wheelers, Tucker made 51 of these cars. Washington Soul. Rocket ships. Dizzy Gillespie's trumpet. Lizard lips. The Smithsonian. Discovered.
And Discover Card is proud to be partners in the anniversary celebration. How many credit cards make a statement like that?
So you're saying you sold her the piranha, not the angelfish?
Honey, I picked up the fish. Hey, guys. Hello, little fishy. Meet your new friend, Angel.
Blocker, who's been suffering from a bad back, has a tremendous reception after a pretty good pass by Fuente, giving the Sooners the 7-0 lead. Oklahoma set to kick off. June Henley and Eric Van set to receive the kick by Jeremy Alexander. Well, Kansas coaches said we had to stop the big play. Well, they gave up that 32-yard pass reception by Damon Parker. That is what really set up that touchdown. Henley on the near side, Van on the far side, and we are set. Kansas averaging about 26 yards a return on kickoffs. It'll be Eric Van. 1 yard deep, brings it out. Look out, crosses the 30 up to the 35. He can do it. He's gone. This will go down as a 101-yard touchdown. The longest coming into this game was 33 yards. 101 on the return by Eric Van. And for the first time in 5 games, Kansas has scored in the first quarter versus the Sooners. That was a case, Eric, of poor tackling.
That was poor tackling. See, his special teams cannot let you down like that. One thing that Coach Blake said yesterday is that they would give up the big play sometime. And see, that's a big play. You score, you have momentum going, and all of a sudden you kick off, and now we're all tied up again. And that really hurts your football team a lot.
Boy, talk about taking the wind out of your sails. And when you're a team that is struggling, you can ill afford any mental breakdowns.
You cannot sit on it too long. I just say that. You can't sit on it too long.
Well, Jeff McCord is a perfect 19 for 19 on the year, but the big man is Eric Van. Here it is again.
Kansas just did a great job up front, basically. They just gave him a gigantic lane to run through. And once he beat the kicker, we know it's over because the kicker most definitely is not going to make the play. They just gave him a big lane to run through, and there's his escorts down the field, and it's a touchdown.
Now look at another angle. Look at number 4, Clovis Woods. He has a perfect bead on Eric Van.
But look at all those white jerseys
right there.
He cannot miss that tackle. I mean, that's a tackle there, or that's a touchdown.
Cornelius Davis also had a shot at him. But when you put your head down, you can't see where the guy is when you're checking out the turf.
That's right. You can't tackle with your head down.
Unless you're planning on being a greenskeeper at a golf course, a defensive back should not be looking at the grass. Longest return in Big 12 history, 101 yards. And you know, Eric, when he caught that, I questioned him taking it out because it didn't look like he had a whole lot in front of him. There you take a look at Glenn Mason. His team bounces back. The 46-year-old Mason, 25th year in coaching, turned down that Georgia Bulldog job earlier. He said he got some great advice from Woody Hayes when he was an assistant at Ohio State. Woody Hayes said, do what you can quickly and get out. But what Glenn said he actually meant to say was, listen, you got to take a coaching job. You got to prepare to be there for 20 to 25 years. Build on it early. And he says he sees himself at Kansas the rest of his career. That's good news for Jayhawk fans.
Maybe bad news for Sooner fans.
That's right. Jarrell Jackson on the near side. Brandon Daniels far side as we're set for Jeff McCord's kickoff. We're tied at 7. 6:39 left to play in the first. An explosive first quarter. That is going to be out of the end zone, and the Oklahoma Sooners will begin first and 10 from their own 20-yard line. Let's take a look at that OU touchdown once again, because
here's what happens on that OU touchdown. You have the inside receiver right here. He goes at the defensive back and outside. The quarterback sets up. He has plenty of time all day, actually, and he did a real good job of beating the guy to the inside. That is basically it's called trips right. That is just a great catch, actually, is what it is. It's a fantastic pass and a fantastic catch.
And that made it 7-0, but we are tied at 7. Keeping it on the ground with Dwayne Chandler, the fullback. The 5'11 senior. There you see so far Fuente, 5 for 7, 99 yards already.
And number 46, Ronnie Ward.
Already thrown for a touchdown. I like the hairdo, though. He's got that linebacker haircut. You know,
I'm impressed with him because he's a freshman, but he plays like a senior. Actually, he really does. I'd like to see what they do if they would really blitz him a little bit.
A lot of poise. He has great protection. Complete. Close to the first down to James Allen coming out of the backfield. And you can already see the trend that the Sooners are not afraid to bring Allen or Parker out of the backfield.
Well, that's a plus. Anytime you can have your back come out the backfield and catch the ball, that is a plus for your offense.
Let's take a look at what Fuente has done since taking over for Eric Moore. He has had success in the last couple of games, and he's been able to improve. You can see 88 yards in a reserve role against TCU, 197, 243 in the last 2 games. Freeman in motion. Fuente straight drop. Here comes a rush from the left side. He dumps it off. It's going to be incomplete. But boy, did he take a shot from Tony Blevins coming up from that free safety spot on the blitz, the junior out of Kansas City.
See, that's the blitz I'm talking about right there. You see the blitz coming from the outside. It came from the outside. I don't even think he really saw the blitz. And it got him from the backside. He saw it a little bit too late. But one thing about it was a smart play is he threw the ball into the ground, not up in the air.
Kansas would like to blitz a lot. They only have 2 sacks on the year. They have been able to pick off 4 on the defensive side. Coaches would like to improve that, but they are #1 in the NCAA in turnover margin.
I think
Fuente on 2nd and 10. Looks for the tight end. Incomplete, intended for Freeman. That looked like almost a mix-up.
Pass is incomplete.
He also had on the near side Brandon Daniels.
I think that was a busted play.
I think it was too.
Number 27, Michael Allen.
There you see Daniels. He goes short. He actually had a step.
I don't know if he's going to Daniels.
The line of scrimmage remains the 30-yard line.
I don't know if that was a mix-up by the receivers or the quarterback. That's one thing that the coaches said. They have a lot of blown assignments. You cannot have blown assignments. That really hurts your offense when you get a drive going. You just can't have those blown assignments.
3rd down and 10. Fuente with the short pass. Up to the 35-yard line. It is Freeman fumbles the football. Was he down? Kansas has recovered it. Freeman thought he was down, and I think the Oklahoma coaching staff thought likewise. Jamie Harris with the fumble recovery, the 7th of the year for Kansas, and there is going to be a discussion. One official was pointing to the ground saying he was down.
Kansas #1 in turnovers. That is a big plus for them because they can make you turn the football over. I think they recovered 6 fumbles and 4 interceptions.
That's not too bad.
No, that's a total of 10 turnovers. I think Oklahoma's turned the ball over 9 times in 3 games.
That's right. Kansas has forced a turnover in 12 consecutive games.
First down, Kansas.
Well, let's take a look at that again. I'm not so sure his leg wasn't down. Let's take a look.
Well, you look at it on the replay, he's running the ball, but when they do hit him, I think they still have him in the air. So I think he's still up. When he loses the ball, he's still in the air. See, he hasn't touched the ground
yet.
He's
That's a good
still
call.
in the air.
Well, look how he held the football. He was holding a loaf of bread. Now, Sooner defense trying to get the crowd into the game as Kansas with 1st and 10 on Oklahoma's 27-yard line. And it is Henley right up the middle. Penalty flag is thrown, and Tyrell Peters is there for the stop.
That's really good penetration by the Oklahoma defense. That's what they have to do to stop the running back. If they want to stop penalty, they have to get into the backfield early. If you get in the backfield early, you disrupt the play total.
Well, we talked about the turnover margin. How about this? And look at nationally. Kansas is #1. Oklahoma 106. They're in the negative category out of the 111 Division I schools. But
offense, the line of scrimmage.
Big 12 making a presence shown in the top 25. That does so much for your football team when you can come up with that turnover. And it does so much when you give it up on the negative side.
You play on offense, and you know your defense is going to get you the ball one way or the other sooner or later. You don't have to always score all the touchdowns.
1st and 21 for the Kansas offense. Ball now on the 38-yard line. Henley the lone setback. Nearing 5 minutes left in the 1st. Watch the reverse. Here it comes. Sooners had it defensed almost from the beginning. A penalty flag is thrown after the loss of 2, and it is Eric Vann on the carry. I'll tell you what, Eric, they might as well have sent a Western Union 1-800-FLOWERGRAM on that one. I think everybody saw that coming.
I think everybody saw that play coming, but you know one thing about that play? It was a lot of bad tackling on that play.
Exactly.
A lot of bad tackling. That's how they give up the big plays, is bad tackling and just mental mistakes also. You just cannot have the mental mistakes.
Fundamentals.
You have to tackle with your head up. You have to see what you're hitting.
You know, talking to even the coaches last week at Nebraska, Charlie McBride and Tom Osborne and John Blake, every coach we've talked to this year has said the same thing. Guys, listen, it comes down to 3 things. Great athletes, blocking, and tackling.
That's what it comes down to playing football. Tackling, catching, blocking. That's a football game.
What a concept, right?
10 yards. Ball at the end of the run.
Sort of like golf. All you got to do is put the ball in the hole. Once again.
Right here. The reverse. Everyone read that reverse. But see the bad tackling. He missed the tackle. He missed the tackle. Finally, the whole squad has to come in attack. You just cannot miss those tackles. If you miss the tackles, you still have to hold on to the guys so the rest of the players get there.
1st down and 33. Johnner rolls left, throws right, throws back left to Eric Van. He had a little bit of running room. He gets back into Sooner territory down to the 45-yard line. Martin Chase with the first hit. Once again, containment is the key.
Very, very important. They have to get pressure on that quarterback. They're doing a good job of getting pressure on the quarterback. I think one thing that Coach Pope said to me is they want to try to get more pressure on the quarterback and disrupt his thinking pattern. If they always have him in a mode of this guy's going to hit me, come from all different directions, it really, really throws their rhythm off.
John Gordon splits to the near side. Two wide receivers to the right. Johnner steps out of the shotgun, changes the play. He has 5 to snap it. 3-step drop into the flat. Pass is complete to Gordon, and he is stacked up at the 38-yard line by Anthony Fogel, the senior out of Houston, Texas, one of only 2 players with any kind of experience in that OU secondary.
Anthony Fogel.
Let's take a look at our Dr. Pepper Roundup. No score in the Maryland-North Carolina State game. Syracuse up a couple of touchdowns over Rutgers. Purdue by 1 over Jim Wacker in Minnesota. Navy leading Duke by a couple. Sam Polis, our spotter. Michigan, Northwestern. Florida and Arkansas. Florida on top, #1 team in the country. We'll keep you posted on those scores throughout the day. 3rd and 21. Johnner from the shotgun. He's got some pressure, scrambles out of it, hits the up man, complete down to the 28-yard line. Tyrell Peters putting the hit on June Henley. Still not getting back to the line of scrimmage. Getting up slowly, Tyrell Peters. And he looks like he is one hurting linebacker.
Well, look at that defensive secondary. The defensive secondary, they were inching up, but then they fell back, which is good. I mean, that's good defense they're playing, but sometimes they're giving too big of a cushion. If he misses that tackle, they still have a lot of defenders around the ball.
Not sure exactly where Peters got hurt. I think Baron Tanner, one of his own teammates, number 92, may have landed on him.
That's center player Tyrell Peters coming off the playing field.
Well, he looks like he's all right. May have gotten the wind knocked out of him. Jeff McCord is on to attempt a field goal. They spotted at the 34-yard line. It'll be a 44-yard attempt. His longest this year is 34. The kick is up and away, and it looks like it's going to be wide right. We have a penalty flag thrown. 2 penalty flags, both coming way deep in the end zone.
Illegal participation while playing on defense.
Oh, my. You know, Oklahoma has had this problem this year. Substitution patterns. Yesterday during the practice that we watched, Bill Young, John Blake, and everybody on the sidelines stressing to their players, when it's substituting, you got to listen up. You've got to be able to listen.
Well, that's why you have those drills the day before you play the football game, is you know who's going on the field, who's coming out, what team you're on. You're on the kicking team, you're on the punting team. That's why you have those drills, to know what team that you're on.
You have to be able to count to 11. Now the field goal is no good.
Defense, 15-yard penalty. In this case, half the distance. It'll be a first down.
Oh, my. You talk about something about shooting yourself in the foot. The Sooners may not have any toes left. You can't do that. You give up a 101-yard return of a kickoff. Now you have a guy miss the field goal. You have 12 men on the field. John Blake is livid, and for good reason.
One thing about KU, they're very effective in the red zone. I think 13 or 14, they have 12 touchdowns. Once they get in this area, they're very effective.
And they are in that red zone right now, tied up at 7, 3:35 to play in the first. Henley stacked up behind the line of scrimmage. Yeoman's effort, this time by Baron Tanner, the big right tackle out of Athens, Texas. Honorable mention, Big 8, all Big 8 last year.
The defensive line is getting a lot of penetration, lots of penetration. That's what you want. You almost like a knife. You want to cut into the backfield. Once you cut into the backfield, the running back is really, really disrupted. Running backs hate to get that penetration in the backfield.
Henley only 16 yards, and he's carried the ball 5 times. So Kansas not able to establish any type of running game today. 2nd and 15, ball is on the 19. The Sooner defense has played well so far. Johnner straight back, has Bird punting across. Penalty flag is down, almost intercepted. Anthony Fogel trying to come up with a pick. Hit him in the shoulder pads.
Hit him in the hands.
Bad place.
I don't know who John was trying to hit on that pass.
Mistake-prone game on the part of both teams so far. Fourth penalty. Officials talking it over.
When you look at Oklahoma's 0-3, but realistically, they could be 2-1, I think. Without all the mistakes they've made in the last 3 games, that has really hurt them. Just like right now, they're making too many mistakes.
This may be an illegal procedure penalty against Kansas. It appeared Jared Smith may have moved the ball. We're not quite
Illegal
sure.
motion.
That is it.
5-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Jared Smith, the center, number 65, I think is the one who actually moved on that play. Take a look at from straight behind. Well, he lifts up. Yeah, he kind of lifts up right before he snaps it. Oklahoma Sooners have not won a football game since October 28th, 1995. That was against Missouri.
But you know, they've always been impressive in openers. It's 17-2-1 in openers in the conference.
The shuttle pass to Henley. He slips, stays on his feet, gets inside the 20 down to the 19-yard line. Broderick Simpson comes up to make the hit. Pickup of about 6 on the play will still bring up a 3rd down situation. That shuttle pass has worked effectively so far for the Kansas offense. 3rd and 10. Less than 2.5 to play here in the first.
One thing about that shuttle pass, it can go big, or it can go big the other way also. But if you drop it, it's not a fumble. That's the good part about it.
Johnner rolling out. He's looking in the end zone. In the flat. Pass is complete. It looks like short of the first down. John Gordon on the reception, and he wasn't sure where the first down was. It was an excellent pass by Matt Johnner, but Gordon cut a little bit too soon. But on 4th down and about a foot at the 4, I think they're going to go for it.
That was a nice pass by John. It's the receiver's job to actually know where the flag is. He has to know how far we need for the first down. He can't come up short when it's a 3rd down and long. He has to get past the flag.
He came back for the football, wasn't able to get it. 4th down and 1. Ball on the 5-yard line. Gordon in motion. Johnner into the end zone. Touchdown. Hosea Friday, the 6'2", 245-pound senior out of Detroit, Michigan. His 2nd touchdown reception of the year. What a great play by Johnner. Took his time as he rolled out, and Friday just got behind that young secondary.
Well, first of all, they're 6 and 8 on 4th down attempts, which is a very high percentage. They use that play action. That's really hurt Oklahoma all year, that play action. The set they were in, you think they're going to run the football, but it was a pass.
McCord 19 for 19, make it 20 for 20 on the year. So Friday, it looks good on Saturday. Well, the Kansas Jayhawks were able to overcome 30 yards and penalties on that drive. They came up with a couple of big plays to take the lead at 14-7. This is how they did it.
The replay right here is a pass fake. I think they're really playing the pass. Even though it was a run set, the defensive back let the tight end get behind him. On a play like that, you have to stay in front of your man at all times because it's so close. You never know if they're going to pass or run. You have to really play for that pass.
Well, Anthony Fogle, the senior out of Houston, started 6 or 7 games back in '95, but it was a free safety. They had to move him over to that cornerback position because they felt they needed some type of experience back there, but he was beaten soundly on that play by the tight end. Once again, that has nothing to do with your athleticism, Eric. It's just a brain cramp. You've got to remember when that tight end's coming out, you've got to stay on him.
When that tight end comes out, you have to do everything in your power to keep him in front of you. You just cannot let him get behind you.
So a 2:04 showing on the clock here in the first quarter. It has been an explosive one. 14-7. Kansas has the lead. Daniels on the far side. Jarrell Jackson, number 19, on the near side. McCord set to kick it away again. Short kick. It's going to be Jackson. Cuts to the near side, trying to find some running room. Makes his way across the 20 up to the 24-yard line. A penalty-ridden scoring drive by Kansas, but nevertheless, they were able to overcome it. After the fumble, they went 27 yards in 3.5 minutes. Took them 7 plays. Completing it with that 5-yard pass to Friday.
The line of scrimmage is the 24.
I think Oklahoma's last in pass defense in the Big 12.
Sooners averaging almost 8 yards of play on offense. They're going to keep it on the ground. That is Parker again, the freshman. Well, when you talk about
misdirection play that Parker Say loves to run, it's basically a sprint draw, starting left and coming back to the right. The running back has an option to go either side. He can start back to his left and cut it back to the right, bouncing it outside. That's a play that most of the NFL teams run. It's just called a sprint draw left or a sprint draw right.
8 yards to the 32-yard line.
Second down and 2. This is the type of second down situation that's made to order for Dick Winder's offense. The big hit is made close to the first down. It is Michael Rose. Now, when you talk about defenses here in Oklahoma history, you had some great ones. But one of the best was led by a man who is now a big-time actor. He's with Brian Nooner right now, Brian.
A big-time actor and certainly a great football player here at the University of Oklahoma, Brian Bosworth. And, Brian, what brings you back to OU today?
Well, you're too kind. I appreciate that. I tell you, the thing that brings me back here is, you know, I'm homegrown here, and I want to come back and support not only the program, but the new head coach, John Blake. And, you know, I have a little thing going with some special kids today. And Section 17 from the Children's Hospital that we brought some kids out, gave them a little day of vacation from their, you know, their routine that they have to go through in the hospital. So, you know, it's a special day. You know, and I never thought that Kansas and Oklahoma would be a big game, but it's a must game for Oklahoma, and right now they're playing with a lot of enthusiasm.
Well, 100 kids, is that correct that you have here at the game today?
Yeah, we try to get as many kids as we can get released from the hospital. And I got to do a little bribing from the docs and say this guy's okay to go. And I think he's ready and peaked and good to go. But you know what it is the kids they get thrown in those rooms, and nobody ever comes to visit them. They feel like they're almost left alone. And I think the thing that people forget is these kids aren't numbers. They're not just people in rooms. They're actually human beings. They care, and they need a little love, and they need a little encouragement and support. And you know, to give them a day out and bring them into an environment like this where there's family and excitement, you know, I know it raises their spirits.
All right, Brian, thanks a lot. Certainly a nice gesture on your part. Enjoy the game. We got a good one here. Let's send it back up to Ron and Eric.
Third down and just a couple of inches, and I'm not sure if Fuente got it. I want to know, should we tell Brian Bosworth to take the strap and put it over his neck for his sunglasses? I think Brian Nooner needs to do that. We're too far up.
So you got to understand, when you're in California, that's the cool. That's the cool. You look cool like that.
Well, in Georgia, you're called a goober if you do that.
In Oklahoma, you'd be surprised. People be wearing it like that next week.
Fuente is able to get the first down. I'm surprised Brian Bosworth didn't talk about his new television series coming up. We'll give him another chance. Brian tells it's a new fashion statement.
Yeah, I told you.
Yeah, you're right. First and 10, we have whistles. Well, it's not the play clock. That was reading 8.
Flags are down.
But it is against Oklahoma. It's going to be against the Sooners. You know, Brian Bosworth brought up a great point. He didn't realize this would be a great game. Let's listen in. And here's why he said that. Between 87 and 1990, even when John Blake was a player, going back farther than that, but between 87 and 90, Kansas was the underdog in all those games. 55-point underdog, 52, 39, and 41. So to have them come in today about 11, 12-point favorite is very uncommon. You can see 8 penalties already, 69 total yards between the two. Fuente straight back. The pass is complete to Parker again. Well, the youngster has shown us he can not only run the football, but he can also receive it. He had a 32-yard reception earlier and another one.
That was one of the questions that the coaches had that they hadn't answered yet was, could Parker catch the ball out the backfield? And I think he's doing a fine job of catching that ball out the backfield. That makes him a double threat. He can run the ball and catch the football.
Well, that's a 24-yard reception by Parker. He only had 2 receptions coming into this game. First and 10, ball on the Kansas 46-yard line. The Jayhawks lead 14-7. Fuente into the flat as a man, and he's complete again. Down to the 38-yard line, Michael McDaniel. who has been a pleasant surprise for Dick Winder and John Blake at that wide receiver spot. He is big at 6'2", 215. Went to John Marshall High School right here in Oklahoma City. As we mentioned earlier, wasn't even going to play as of this summer, but he said, you know, when John Blake took over, I just said to myself, I've got to prove that I can play on this level. He is a wonderful young man.
A real nice guy. Guy with a broken pelvis. You'd never think he'd play football again.
Parker, no place to go. The blue and white unis all over him, and that will end the first quarter. But Fuente and the Sooners have held tough. They were the first to score, but the Jayhawks come back with 14 unanswered points and they lead 14-7. We'll be back right after this word from Citgo. Look for the sign of quality throughout Big 12 country. Citgo says go.
It won't be easy getting to the first big conference championship game. Unless, of course, you enter the Citgo Says Go For It sweepstakes. Winners will receive an all-expenses-paid trip for 4 to the conference championship, or other prizes like free gas for a full year. So don't sit on the sidelines. Stop by your participating Citgo and enter the Citgo Says Go For It sweepstakes today.
You've told us what you want from Newsline 9. The investigators.
The investigators are listening to you.
Your concerns are our issues. Child Watch.
Oklahoma children face tough challenges every day. That's why Newsline 9's on Child Watch.
Health Watch.
Myth breakers and breakthroughs. Health Watch keeps you up to date.
And when you need help, Consumer Watch is there.
I want to thank KWTV.
Consumer Watch.
You ask the questions and we'll keep digging.
Newsline 9. It's more than just the news. It's the spirit of Oklahoma.
Relax. Feel at home with your money. Because with Bank of Oklahoma, you're ready for whatever pops up. With our 24-hour Express Bank, you can handle all your money matters at home, on the phone, anytime, day or night. Shop any of BOK's full-service supermarket locations or visit one of over 50 BOK branches. Any way you slice it, BOK's helping more Oklahomans feel at home with their money.
On the next episode of Seinfeld.
I gotta get out of this shit.
So you're tunneling to the center of the earth? Your ladies' glasses. You all you need is that little chain around your neck so you can wear them while you're playing canasta.
I can't swallow.
She's got rabies, just like my friend Bob Sacamano.
Look at that, she's delirious.
She's
Seinfeld, Sunday night at 10:35 here on TV9.
Now, the last 4 meetings between these two teams, Oklahoma had outscored Kansas 52-0 in the first quarter. Kansas has turned the tables here early on. 3rd down and 4 for Oklahoma as we begin the second quarter of play. Along with Eric Dickerson and Brian Nooner, I'm Ron Thulin. Fuente has some pressure. He can run it, but he does not get the first down as he barely gets back to the line of scrimmage. And if there is a rap on young Justin Fuente, it is the fact he is not quick.
Right there on that play, that was actually the offensive line. I said once again early in the broadcast that they have to protect him up front. They have to give him that lane up front so he can look down the middle of the field.
Line of scrimmage remains the 40-yard line. 4th and 4.
Brian Lewis set to kick it away. Isaac Bird is back. Coming into this game, they have only returned 2 punts, the Kansas Jayhawks. High wobbly kick. Bird called a fair catch, and he gets it at about the 14-yard line. Only a 26-yard return, but at least Lewis able to keep him inside the 20.
14-yard line. That's where Kansas will begin possession. 1st and 10.
Kansas will take it over 1st and 10. To 7 our score. Sun trying to break through the clouds here in Norman. A rather pleasant October afternoon. So far, the Sooner defense has done exactly what they had hoped to do, and that is stop June Henley, the 3rd best rusher in the NCAA. They bottleneck that opening again.
Again to number 20.
What that Sooner defense is doing is just getting good penetration. They're just getting in the backfield early. That's what they're doing. It frustrates the back. I know it does, but that's what they want to do. They want to get in the backfield and frustrate him. When you frustrate a running back, sometimes you have a tendency to do something stupid, what you normally wouldn't do.
Well, Smith and Shaq Brown, number 96, are able to clog up that middle. Second down and 10 for Kansas. Matt Johnner from the shotgun. Rolls to his left. Has a man in the flat. It is complete. So John Gordon again. This time he's able to find that yardage marker and get the first down.
Johnner's pass complete to number 4.
Colin Rosenberg, coming off an injury at that linebacker position, was hooked up almost one-on-one with Gordon. Rosenberg, a 6'2", 243-pound senior out of Yukon, Oklahoma, but Gordon may be a little bit too quick for him.
I think he is too quick for him.
14 yards to the 20.
I think that has to be a wide receiver's dream, is to go one-on-one with a linebacker.
Oh, that is a wide receiver's dream. Even a running back likes to get one-on-one with a linebacker.
First and 10, Johnner changing the play. Two tight end situation. The pitch to Henley. Not a whole lot of room for Henley as Cedric Stevens coming up from that left quarterback spot. Once again, good containment by the Sooners.
That's what they said they had to do. They had to contain him. They have to contain him, keep him in the backfield. Don't let him get on track early.
Cedric Stevens, number 7, the sophomore out of Dallas, Texas, has some of the best potential of anybody in that secondary as we look at Glenn Mason, the head football coach.
From the 29.
Coached at Ohio State, at Kent State. Big 8 coach of the year in 95 and 91. Second and 9. Again, the Oklahoma defense stacking up that Kansas offensive line, not allowing much running room for June Henley.
Oklahoma just playing that run real tough. Right now, I think they're going to play an 8-man front. They said they would play 8-man front. They had to contain that run because I know that's what Kansas wants to do. They want to run the football.
Third down and 7, and this is exactly what the Kansas coaches had hoped to avoid on offense. They keep it on the ground. Henley hit from behind at the 30. Or Eric Vann, I should say, hit from behind at the 30. And he is dropped right at about the line of scrimmage. Colin Rosenberg again coming in from that linebacker spot to make the hit.
Look on this replay. The defensive line is really getting into the backfield. Right there, they're all on the ground. They're in the backfield, hitting from the ground, from the back. That is really frustrating for a running back. When the defensive line gets penetration to the backfield, they have disrupted the whole play.
Hey, a blitz sometimes is very effective against the run.
Sometimes a blitz is very effective, but you leave yourself open for a blitz. And I don't think Oklahoma has
well, the Sooners are going to have a roughing the kicker penalty against Cedric Stevens. Ball bounding around, but it doesn't matter. Sooners blocked the punt against Tulsa, and they were coming in a big way on that one. But Cedric Stevens, the sophomore from Dallas, running right into Dean Royal.
First down.
Boy, I tell you what, Eric, you have that field goal that's missed. You have too many men on the field. Kansas takes advantage of that, moves in for a touchdown. Now you're getting the ball back, and what do? Watch the left side.
Well, he runs right into the kicker. You know, he's trying to make the play, but you have to pull up sometimes. You just have to pull up. He wants to make a big play for his team to try to get him back in this football game, but you have to pull up.
I tell you what, I think he hit the football there because the ball, when it was sailing towards the Sooners, it was fluttering, and it wasn't because he hit his foot. I'll tell you what, that may not be the correct call. We'd have to take a look at that.
I think the kicker just had a bad call.
Yeah,
a bad kick.
I'm not sure if he shanked it or if it was hit. Stevens did look like he was pushed from the side, but not by much. Can't really tell on the replay, we're told, but it was close. Nevertheless, Kansas has the ball in good field position at the 47, their own. The right side is good for about 5. Henley again on the carry. Terry White coming up from that strong safety position to make the first hit.
That's one thing about Kansas. They will not give up on the run. No matter if you stop it, you stop it, you stop it. They figure they can't give up on the run. That's their bread and butter. They want to run the football.
Last year, of course, this Jayhawk team with a record of 10-2. Their first 10-win season since 1905. Then they go to the Aloha Bowl, and Glenn Mason and company drill UCLA, which sent Terry Donahue to the broadcast booth. Johnner into the flat. It is complete to Isaac Byrd. Sidesteps a couple of defenders. And after the catch, Byrd is able to pick up about 5. So he makes the reception good for about 10. Then he picks up 5 more just in pure athleticism. Rosenberg not able to wrap them up. Once again, tackling.
Tackling is very, very important. That was just an in and a quick out.
If, and that is a big if, Kansas takes this in. John Blake will be limited halftime because he was being given the ball twice, and both times Kansas would have taken advantage of the situation. 2 tight ends. Straight up the middle, not much there. Ball was on the 33. They pick up maybe 2 on the play.
He was stopped by Colin Rosenberg.
Rosenberg on the tackle. You see number 97, Kelly Gregg. Interesting story. The young man is only 6 foot tall. He weighs 280 pounds. Coaches say this guy's got a motor. But the problem with Kelly, he thinks he can bull rush everybody. He doesn't realize he's 6 foot. He thinks he's 6'4".
Yesterday he said, I'm 6'3", 280.
That's right. John Blake knows something about being about 6 foot 240. Johnner on a play action pass on 2nd and 9. Pass is complete up to the 23-yard line to John Gordon. How difficult is that for a left-handed quarterback to try to roll that way in full speed and also throw a rope?
That's very difficult. And it's a nice pass by the quarterback because the defender cannot get it. The pass can only be caught by the receiver. It's outside, it's low. That's just a great pass by him. You see right there, he has the only chance of catching that ball.
Little sidearm motion. One thing Johnner and company did see in the films from last week's Tulsa game is the fact that Oklahoma did bite on a lot of that play action. You can see 108 yards already on 11 of 15 throwing the football. They're measuring it, and it is going to be short, so that'll bring up a 3rd down and inches. Kansas only 37% on 3rd down conversions this year. They'll mark it. You can hear the Oklahoma coaches saying, play the pass, play the pass.
Well, the play action really has been hurting them today. I mean, the play action really hurts Oklahoma. You see that because the defensive backs, they really can't hold up outside. The defensive front is not getting enough pressure.
Bill Young, the defensive coordinator, had a stint at Oklahoma State, had a stint at Ohio State. He knows exactly what Kansas wants to do on this play. 3rd and 1, you have the ability to go ahead and throw the ball. Let's see if Kansas takes that chance, but they don't. Instead, Matt Johnner, the quarterback, is just going to keep it.
Quarterback sneak by Matt Johnner.
Johnner is playing an excellent game, and the coaches had hoped to get Ben Roots, who is scheduled to be the starter, a little playing time today. Said he had a good week of practice coming off that ACL. He's only 5 of 9 this year throwing a football. Coaches had hoped to give Matt a break and put Ben in, but the way Matt is playing right now, Ben may not see some playing time until this thing gets out of hand. Coaches would not hesitate to play either one of them. That is the luxury that Glenn Mason has. Nearing that red zone, leading 14-7, 9-13 from a shotgun to Van. He picks up about 3 on the play, inching up towards the 20-yard line. Kelly Gregg and Tyrell Peters coming up to make the stop. Gregg played as a true freshman. He wrestles for the Oklahoma wrestling team. There's another guy that was a pretty good wrestler and pretty good football player for the Oklahoma Sooners. He was a guard by the name of Steve Williams. For all you people that like that Saturday afternoon wrestling, you'll probably know him as Dr. Death, the WWF. He was a pretty fair football player himself. 2nd and 7. Eric Galbraith, the fullback, the 5'11 junior out of Jefferson City, Missouri, who is considered an excellent blocker, doesn't get to carry the ball a whole lot. Only had 16 carries coming into this game. Howard's like a fullback, though, that weighs 205 pounds, who's also a hurdler on the track team. He doesn't have to jump over there. He can just go right through.
That's a little fullback. I don't think he can move anything big out of the way. You like your fullback to weigh about 250.
3rd and 2. Galbraith, the up back. Henley behind him. 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers. They give it to Galbraith. He is stacked up, fights his way down to the 18-yard line, and it is going to be close as Baron Tanner, the senior out of Athens, Texas, had him wrapped up. Galbraith using those powerful legs to get down to about the 14-yard line. And they're going to not take any chances. They're going to bring in Jeff McCord, the field goal kicker. Well, Glenn Mason saw McCord miss his first one, but it was called back because of a penalty. This time, Oklahoma does have 11 men in the game. 31-yarder. Right straight down the middle. So McCord is now 2 of 5 on the year, and the first blood drawn here in the second quarter. 7:14 left in the half. Kansas leads by 10.
Southwest Airlines employees demonstrating once again that you can have fun and still do a great job.
It won't be easy getting to the first big conference championship game. Unless, of course, you enter the Citgo Says Go For It sweepstakes. Winners will receive an all-expenses-paid trip for 4 to the conference championship, or other prizes like free gas for a full year. So don't sit on the sidelines. Stop by your participating Citgo and enter the Citgo Says Go For It sweepstakes today.
You take a look at what the Big 12 has put together as far as running the football. How about Davis Hansbard and June Henley, 1, 2, and 3. And this man, Dick Winder, who spent so many years at Texas Tech, where he was the offensive coordinator. 59 different records were set at Tech in his 9 years as offensive coordinator. He had a tough year. His wife passed away in August. They've been married 30-plus years, right after he took the job here at Oklahoma, but he is really immersing himself in this job. Kickoff goes out of bounds. Penalty flag is thrown. He is a wonderful offensive mind who has been operating under difficult circumstances. He's going to get some things done here. He never quits coaching.
One thing about the Oklahoma Sooners, they've had 3 different offenses in 3 years. That's very hard on
when you have
young guys.
3 head coaches, 3 offenses in 3 years, then you have only 3 players with any type of experience on offense. That makes it a tough job for Dick and the staff.
Illegal procedure on the kicking team. Penalty is declined. First down, 35-yard line.
Oklahoma would rather take it on the 35-yard line. Let's take a look at the Southwest Airlines storyline. Southwest Airlines, low fares, every flight, every seat, every day. Eric Van's 101-yard kickoff return, tied it up at 7, and you can see what everybody else has done. First and 10. Oklahoma keeps it on the ground with James Allen, the senior out of Wynnewood, Oklahoma.
Handoff to James Allen.
Well, you can see the total yards. Oklahoma is able to hang a couple on them, but they need to put it in the end zone. But the big key, I think, is defensively what they've done on June Henley. This Oklahoma defense was 9th in the nation against the rush last year. This year, not quite as good. Fuente back to pass, looks down the middle, and is complete up to the 35-yard line. Jason Freeman, the 6'3", 235-pound sophomore out of Muskogee, Oklahoma. Replacing the injured Steven Alexander at tight end, a pickup of 26 on the play.
That was a nice run by the tight end. Nice catch also. See right here on the replay, the tight end comes off straight up the field. If you can see it, he comes straight up the field, and the ball is just thrown right down the middle of the field.
Now, when we asked the coaches to describe Jason Freeman, the first thing they said is good hands. Fuente, straight drop back, goes down the middle again. Pass intended for Gerald Williams. incomplete. Eric, we got a moment. We'd like to pass on our prayers and our concerns to defensive coordinator at Kansas State, Bob Cope. Earlier, Bob was diagnosed with having cancer. We had a chance to spend some time with Bob just a couple of weeks ago, and he is a wonderful man. And we wish Bob and his family nothing but the best. And Bob, I guarantee you, big guy, we're thinking about you today, and our prayers are with you. Get better soon.
Most definitely.
Fuente to Allen. Allen gets into the secondary, pulls his way down to the 20-yard line. Pickup of 17 on the play for James Allen, who is going to be known in Oklahoma history as one of the best blocking backs ever. This time he shows he can run the football.
That was just an off-tackle play. Right here, you see he comes right off tackle, right up the field. That's a... Watch right here. The guard goes down, blocks the linebacker. He bounces back inside. He makes the guy miss. That's the sign of a good running back. You can make the guy miss in open field. That's when it's your job. It's up to you when they get you out in the open field.
Well, we never talk about the linemen, so Chris Campbell, number 66, you had a heck of a block, my friend. Allen this time tries right up the middle. Chris Campbell, the big right guard out of Chicago, Illinois. There you see Mike Hankwitz, the defensive coordinator. Came to Kansas from Colorado, where he held the same position. 8 starters returned on this defensive scheme. There really is kind of a 4-3 type of pro defense, but most of the time they throw a 7- and 8-man line on you on the defensive side.
So they call it a 4-3. Really, it is an 8-man front.
2nd and 8. The pitch back to Parker. Tries to get around the outside. Gets inside the 15. Down to about the 13-yard line before Jason Thorne, the right inside linebacker, the junior from right home in Orange, Kansas, comes up with the stop.
That's one thing that the coaches liked about Parker. He can get outside very fast. He can get on the corners, and that's where he does his most damage, is when he gets outside on the corners.
Well, the Kansas defense had their problems against Utah in 1st and 2nd down, where the teams made a couple of big plays. Oklahoma, on the other hand, just grinding it out. Now facing a 3rd and 2, 5:15 left in the half. Big 3rd down play. The pitch. The 1st down. Penalty flag is thrown. Parker makes his way down to the 3-yard line, but I think it's going to be holding against the Sooners.
That's really sad. That's a nice run, nice block. That's one thing that's really hurting Oklahoma, these penalties.
That is exactly what it's going to be. And I think it may have been on the tight end, Jason Freeman. He's the one who put his head down first. Jason, if it wasn't you, I apologize, my friend. But if it was you, shame on you.
Holding, offense, spot foul, 10 yards,
Now,
3rd down.
We're still waiting for the Big 12 officials to begin naming names. A lot of the conferences in college football have started to do that. The players don't want it to happen.
Players hate when the names are called.
Well, they figure they've got till film on Sunday or Monday before they have to hide their head.
This is just a quick toss play outside. It's designed to go here or back inside.
There you see Freeman on the left-hand side.
Look at the guy right there. 67 makes a nice block outside. But I think the holding came from the tight end area.
So now the Sooners facing 3rd and 15 instead of 3rd and 2. The pass almost intercepted. Fuente just cut loose with the ball looking for Freeman. Jason had not even turned around. Tony Blevins on the coverage.
I think that was a miscommunication right there between the tight end and the quarterback.
Well, and Dick Winder out there trying to explain it to the young redshirt freshman.
They put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. The outside corner came in right there. One thing I like about the young quarterback, he likes to stand in there. He will not go down. He just stands there.
Alexander, a 42-yarder, and it is blocked. Picked up by Kansas, and they've got a convoy. Touchdown, Kansas. Chris Jones with the block. Patrick Brown picks it up and scampers the distance. Specialty teams have killed the Sooners today. Oh my. You're facing 3rd down and 2 inside the 15-yard line. You're looking to make this game 17-14, and instead you turn it around and you're down maybe 24-7.
It's mistakes, mistakes, mistakes. The special teams have to play better. Special teams can win and lose football games. Some games are won on special teams alone.
54-yard return on the play.
Special teams today has scored 14 points.
McCord set to kick the extra point, and he does just that. So just like wham, bam, the Kansas Jayhawks build the lead to 17. And we'll be back right after this word from Dr. Pepper, just what the doctor ordered.
Taste you've been looking for.
Watch this. I'm gonna balance my checkbook. No, really. This is worth watching. See, this is Nations Bank PC Banking. It lets you go online with Nations Bank to transfer money, pay all your bills, and balance your checkbook in a flash. Ready? Go. Click here, do that, and done. Want to see that again?
It's back. SE5.
Gotta go for a ride.
Customized with air, cassette stereo, sliding rear window, alloy wheels, and chrome bumpers.
Yeah, six alive.
Mazda SE5.
Let me go for a ride.
Just $11,995. Or lease for $189 a month, $1,000 down.
Just let me go for a ride.
Mazda.
Got a passion for the road.
The legendary SE5.
Next week, a treat in store as Heisman hopeful Troy Davis and the Iowa State Cyclones take on Texas A&M. Last Saturday, the 5'9" junior raced for 378 yards, third highest single game total ever in major college football history. Already, he's gained 917 yards in just 4 games. Catch him live next Saturday morning at 11:30 Central on most of these same Big 12 stations. Well, we know one thing. Offensively next week, it's going to be Davis carrying the ball, then Davis carrying the ball, then Davis carrying the ball. So you can see the all-purpose yards. June Henley right up in there, as is Damon Parker. But the big man is Troy Davis, averaging, what, 150 carries a game, something like that?
Maybe 200.
Well, the Sooners fumble it right at the goal line. And not a whole lot of running room for Brandon Daniels. Let's take a look at that block once again.
This is where your special teams cannot let you down. They just cannot let you down. But they do. They get one thing about KU, they get very good penetration and slap the ball down. But the special teams, they have to block better up front. That just cannot happen.
Did you see how far the defensive front four of Kansas has pushed back that offensive line? They were almost into the holder.
That's what's hurting them. I mean, they're getting too much penetration up front.
Well, 13 consecutive games, Kansas is forced to turnover. Parker tries the right side, has some running room. Penalty flag is thrown, and that might just be a hold against the Oklahoma Sooners from that wide receiver spot.
Number 33, Devon Parker, the ball carrier.
That's what hurt them last week was all the penalties, and I think they're right back at it again with penalties, penalties, penalties. You just cannot have all the penalties.
Well, the Sooners had 6 penalties for 64 yards prior to that infraction. That is their 7th penalty. It is at 71 yards. Last week, 105. And one of our musts, they can't afford to make those mistakes. The margin of error when you have a young football team that's struggling is 0.
Holding, offense, 10-yard penalty. After this is first down.
If you make mistakes in a football game, if you have 60 plays or 70 plays in a football game on the offensive side, you expect to have 3 or 4 blown assignments, penalties, but you can't keep having them just one behind the other.
Well, Oklahoma has outrushed, has outpassed, has out everything Kansas so far, but they're not doing what they need to do on the scoreboard. Fuente into the flat, has a man there off the hands of Brandon Daniels. Boy, the pass was on the money in the old adage, Eric. If it can hit you in the hand, you should catch it.
If you touch it, you should catch it.
Exactly right.
That was just a post pattern, and the ball hit him right in the hands. That was a nice pass by Fuente.
He's showing us he does have an arm. He's 10 of 18, 161 yards, tossing the pigskin today. Gerald Williams comes in. Once again, they are playing without Steven Alexander, their leading receiver the last 2 years, the big tight end. Has that ligament damage in his shoulder. On the sprint draw to Parker, and he is going to be stacked up. Maybe picks up 2 on the play up to the 10-yard line. Let's take a look at our Dr. Pepper Roundup. Our Dr. Pepper scores from around the country. North Carolina State leading, as is Syracuse at halftime. Purdue leading Jim Wacker in Minnesota by 8. Also at intermission, Duke and Navy, they're even. Michigan hanging on to a 9-0 lead over Northwestern and the #1 team in the country. Up by 7. Michigan State leading Iowa by 13, also at halftime. 3rd down and 15. Ball sitting on the OU 10-yard line. Fuente looks left, throws right, nobody is there. I think he was trying to get Damon Parker.
I think that was a blown assignment.
We have a penalty flag thrown on the far side of the field. It was a very late flag. Once again, the officials, I tell you, they flag so many people, they look like they're starting to do the Macarena here. Watch this. See if you can do the words to
Pass
it.
interference, defense, 15 yards.
Well, Mike Hankwitz doesn't like it. I think what happened is Damon Parker may have come out of the backfield there, and he was shoved out of bounds by the cornerback. He was intended to go right upfield.
Damon Parker is really giving them a lot of problems coming out of the backfield. The defensive back seems to just cannot get adjusted to him coming out of the backfield, and sometimes he lines up outside like as a flanker.
Well, Glenn Mason is pleading his case to no avail.
You never win that.
Well, the bad news is Oklahoma was facing 3rd and long from their own 10. Now it is 1st and 10, and the ball is already up to the 25-yard line. Fuente, a little play action pass. He's got some time. The pass, that's going to be pass interference. Jason Freeman is hog-tied at the 47-yard line. Michael Allen never saw the ball. The 5'10 sophomore out of St. Louis, Missouri, put up the hand and sort of collared old Mr. Freeman.
If you look on the other side of the field, Michael McDonald is wide open.
Good call.
Wide open.
Pass interference, defense, 15-yard penalty.
Look on the replay.
1st down.
You can't see the right side of the field, but he's wide open. That is a pass interference right there on the receiver. Before the ball gets there, he's pushing him. He knows he's beat. That's why he pushes him.
Kansas has more penalty yards than they do rushing the football. That hurts.
Well, OU's defense is playing pretty good up front.
They've played well.
Yeah. So once you get that penetration in the backfield, for a running back, that's just, it's terrible. You want to know what's going on.
Now the Oklahoma Sooners, thanks to 2 pass interference penalties, already up to the 40-yard line and 1st and 10. Fuente, the rush, the screen to Parker, and he is going to be stacked up right at the line of scrimmage and then pushed back by Jason Thorne, the junior linebacker out of Lawrence. 95, Thorne was the leading tackler on this Jayhawk squad. Loss of 2 on the play. He is a very, very steady linebacker. And watching him on tape, I like this kid. He's good. He's tough. See, when you get 43, you can start talking about these guys being kids. When I was 20, I couldn't say it.
Well, I'm 36. I guess I can call them kids.
Your kids too, yeah. Well, they're calling you Mr. Dickerson yesterday. That got to hurt.
Make me feel old.
That hurts, man. I tell Mr. Thula lives in Pittsburgh. It ain't me. Parker bounces off a tackle, and the young freshman crossing down to the 42-yard line. 22-yard gain by Damon Parker out of Tulsa, Booker T. Washington High School. That high school famous for a basketball player by the name of Wayman Tisdale.
Damon Parker says he likes to go outside, run the ball outside. Outside is very important. And right here, when you make the defensive back move, that's a great job by the running back. That's on you right there. When you get in the open field, it's your job to make the guy miss the tackle.
Well, the official word is 39 on the carry. The Oklahoma offense that's able to put up 392 yards a game on the board is moving the football again. But they trail by a bundle, and we still have 2:38 left in the half. Big 12 football will return after these local messages.
Newsline 9 at 6 and 10. Their tough questions get answers. Jennifer Reynolds, holding officials accountable to you. From tarnished brass to the Oklahoma child welfare system, she cuts to the core of the story. Kelly Ogle, his issues are your concerns. He asks who's driving the bus, and his digging uncovers how your tax dollars are spent. Together, they anchor Newsline 9 at 6 and 10. Jennifer Reynolds, Kelly Ogle, working for you, working in the spirit of Oklahoma.
For Caravan, we invented new ways to stash your stuff. Now we're building more bins and boxes, and a great new place to put them. The new Dodge Dakota. It's full of surprises. We packed our full-size Ram with Magnum power. Now we're reloading. The new Magnum-powered Dodge Dakota. It's full of surprises.
Sometimes it's good to stop and reflect on what a great country we live in, especially in an election year when we can exercise our right to vote. At Liberty, we honor the American way of life, our heritage, our freedom. For a limited time, we're giving away an American flag with each approved personal loan of at least $2,000 for 6 months or more. And we'll reduce the rate another 0.5% when you show us your current voter registration card. Liberty. We believe in what our name means.
And as we take a look at the South standings, Texas with a big game against Oklahoma State later today. Texas Tech at 1-1, and the Sooners playing their first conference game. Those are our Lincoln Mercury Big 12 standings. And ironically, KU played its first ever conference game in 1907 against the Oklahoma Sooners. Parker breaking tackles. Oh my goodness, still on his feet, down to the 14-yard line. So the young freshman is upstaging June Henley today.
Well, the coaches are very high on this guy. They said he can make you miss an open field, and you see right there, he can make you miss an open field.
A 39-yard pickup. That was a 26-yard pickup. Not bad.
Can the replay is just a quick toss. That was a nice block by the tight end. Once he gets out in the open field right here, he makes the guys missing. And that's very important right there. He makes you miss. Makes him miss. He made 3 guys missing.
Fuente rolls out, man in the end zone, and he underthrows him incomplete. Williams thought he had it. Fuente had him wide open. He needed to hit the cutoff man on that one. Well, let's take a look at it from the end zone. Justin wants this back.
Oh, yes. He wants to get that up just a little bit higher, maybe another 3 inches. What made that play was the play action.
Exactly.
They had the play action to Parker. The defense really bit on the play action.
2nd and 10, ball at the 14. This time the Kansas defense stands tall. Pickup of about 1 on the play by Parker. Patrick Brown coming up to make the stop. And Oklahoma wants to talk about it with 1:58 left in the half, trailing by 17. This is a very big possession, I would have to think, for the Sooners. They've had a field goal blocked, run back for a touchdown. They had 12 men on a field goal attempt on Kansas, which was no good. So they need to know that they can put the ball in the end zone.
Well, they really need to score a touchdown. 3 points would help them.
They need to have 7, though, for confidence.
They really need 7 points. Kansas scored really on special teams. I mean, really, the special teams has really helped them a lot. The punt return, the kickoff return, and also the block punt.
24-7. Justin Fuente. There hasn't been a real steady quarterback here since Cale Gundy back in '93. They were looking for him really to take over the reins. Eric Moore started the season, and the sophomore from Dallas, Texas, did not finish the TCU game as Fuente came in. Coaches feel that Fuente maybe won't be a great quarterback, but he could be an awfully good one. They like his knowledge of the game, and they think he's steady. He's got a good arm, not real quick of feet. Doesn't give you that ability to scramble around, but his leadership ability is excellent. And Glenn Mason talking to Mike Hankwitz, trying to get something to stop that passing attack.
Well, Fuente is a freshman. He threw for 243 yards last week.
Not pretty bad.
Pretty impressive numbers for a freshman.
Devon Parker already with 74 yards rushing the football, but none will be bigger than on this 3rd and 8 situation. In motion. Fuente is rushed. The slant pass is complete down to the goal line. Michael McDaniel with the reception. Fuente had everybody in the white and blue coming after him, but the quick release gets him a first down to the 1.
I think they thought he was probably going to the back. He looks outside at the back first, and then they have the quick slant coming inside.
Well, the licensed minister has this prayer answered. The Sooners first and goal, ball on the 1. Oh, not again. Did somebody line up in the neutral zone? Is it against OU or against Kansas? If it is against OU, I think somebody may have been moving.
Dead ball.
Oh, my, Eric.
Offense. 5-yard penalty.
The coach talked about it yesterday. The penalties. They make too many. They cannot keep having these penalties.
Oh, my. This is ugly. You cannot afford to have first and goal from the 1 and then pick up your 8th penalty. Dick Winder, the offensive coordinator, on the left. Cannot believe it. And neither can head coach John Blake. Nevertheless, first and goal from the 5. And they moved again. The right side of the Sooner line jumps. Matt Anderson, the true freshman out of Moore, Oklahoma, jumps.
False start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Dave Lapham, who also does Big 12 football, one of our other color analysts, always says there's no excuse for an offensive lineman to jump off sides. Says you have to do whatever you can not to. He used to put how many fingers the snap count was on the side of his leg. He said you cannot do that. He said that is inexcusable when it's not that loud.
Well, you know why? Because you know when the count is. You know when the ball is going to be snapped. They don't.
Instead of first and goal from the 1, it's first and goal from the 10. Fuente looking to throw. In the flat is a complete, but it didn't get a whole lot. Gerald Williams picks up maybe a yard on the play.
Pass was complete.
They've been hoping to get a real big day out of Gerald Williams.
Clock is running. Mike Hankwitz defense being aided by the penalties. Calling out the plays. 47 seconds to play in the half. Sooners down by 17. Rose in motion. Fuente straight drop back. Blitzes on into the end zone. Incomplete. Intended for Jason Freeman, the tight end. 3rd and goal from the 9.
From 3rd and 1 to 3rd and 9. You can't do that and win football games.
Chris Blocker checks into the lineup, as does Gerald Williams. Blocker already a touchdown reception today. Blocker, McDaniel, Williams all in at the wide receiver spot. Obvious passing down, 3rd and 9, 3 wide receivers left. Fuente, the drop, the pass, nobody is there. 2 wide receivers were standing within about 3 feet of each other. And that brings up 4th down, and this brings up a missed opportunity for the Sooners.
That was a big opportunity for them to get on the scoreboard, at least put 7 points up there. That happens when you have young players. You have a lot of young guys up front, a lot of guys who haven't had a lot of playing experience. So they jump off sides, they make the young mistakes.
This will be a 25-yarder for Jeremy Alexander. The last one was blocked in return for a score. This one sneaks inside the right upright. So at least they don't go away with a goose egg. Alexander hits the field goal. And the Sooners cut into that Kansas lead at 24-10. But 2 procedure penalties, one at the 1-yard line, one at the 6-yard line, killed the Oklahoma drive. You know, you try to find a silver lining, Eric, and I guess it would be that Fuente is able to move this club.
He is able to move the ball, throwing the ball, and also Parker is able to run the football. But you cannot keep making these mistakes, and they keep relying on we're young. If they are young, but still they have to play better. They cannot make these mistakes.
Maybe get the ice bucket. You're going to need to sit in it after that. The tirade by Dick, and for good reason. How would you like to have 282 yards total offense already in this game? Which is great, except the fact you got 81 yards penalty.
Well, you have 281 yards. You hope to be in the lead.
Yeah, you should be, especially when your opponent only has 139 yards offense. But a great job by the specialty teams of Kansas, and not so great job by the specialty teams of OU. Well, they went 76 yards, ended up with a 26-yard field goal by Alexander. Took them 4 minutes and 13 seconds left to do that. Alexander set to receive. Eric Van on the near side. Henley on the far side for the Jayhawks. 26 seconds left to play in this first half. Sooners are not out of this one by a long shot. But you're still expecting June Henley to bust it out. A short kick. That was probably a design play. Taken, sitting down right away. Number 54, Steve Bratton, who is normally a linebacker. I think when Steve caught the ball, he realized he was a linebacker. That's why he sat down.
Well, you kick it short, and hopefully that he'll fumble it. That's when you kick it short to him.
He is a sophomore out of Arvada, Colorado. 6'1", 200-plus pounds.
Those guys right there close up front, they aren't used to handling the football.
That's right.
So try to kick it to them.
Plus, look at all the, you got that tape on your hands and everything. You can't expect to catch the football.
Their job is to block.
Kansas has 24 seconds to operate. Matt Johnner's not going to take any chances. He's going to sit down with it, and that'll probably be the last play of this first half. So the Oklahoma Sooners had a number of opportunities. Kansas has forced Oklahoma to jump off sides and block the field goal. And if the Sooners would have played well on the specialty teams, it'd be a lot closer. But that's the end of the first half. Matt Johnner and company head to the locker room for Kansas, and they have a 24-10 lead. Brian Nooner's on our sideline now with Glenn Mason. Brian?
Well, Eric Van provided a big spark, but at the same time, OU's made some mistakes, and you've capitalized every time.
Well, they've made some mistakes, but overall, I think Oklahoma has outplayed us offensively and defensively, and thank God for the kicking game. And we're capable of playing better, and we got to treat it like it's nothing, and we got to play a good, solid 30 minutes of football. We got to be a better football team the second half than we were the first half.
They've had some breakdowns on specialty teams. At the same time, you'd probably like to get your running game going a little bit more, too.
Well, we've not, the thing about it, there's no secret. If the guys up front don't block, Superman's not going to gain any yards, and I don't think we're doing a good job up front. We'll do a better job the second half.
All right, Coach, thanks for joining us. Still, Kansas leads at the half. Ron, let's send it back up to you.
All right, Brian, 24-10 is the score. We still have a lot coming your way from Norman as Kansas and the Sooners square it off at Owen Memorial Stadium in Norman, Oklahoma. We'll be back after this. The first half has been brought to you by Sonic Drive-In, where we invite you to drive in for a change. And by Citgo. Look for the sign of quality throughout Big 12 country. Citgo says go. And by Southwestern Bell. Count on Southwestern Bell for the communication services you'll use every day. Yes, it's that simple. And by your local Mercury dealer and America's newest sport utility, the Mercury Mountaineer.
Remember the day when you were finally this tall? Suddenly you had the freedom to go places you never could before. The sky was the limit. But it was always more fun to go there with a friend. That's why Southwest Airlines brought back Friends Fly Free. Just buy a ticket at our full unrestricted fare, and a friend flies with you free.
Want to go again?
Southwest Airlines.
Guess which burger chain just received a #1 overall rating in a recent national survey? Nope. Sorry. Who received a #1 ranking? Sonic. first in service, and a #1 rating in overall satisfaction. At Sonic, your order is delivered fast and in person, and Sonic makes everything fresh to order. So break away from the ordinary and drive into America's choice.
Sonic, driving for a change.
So you want me to tell you about some of the things that are on my Discover card statement? I travel quite a bit. Ooh, I didn't know that the golf ball's around here. I'll take out $100 to buy the bait, gas up the boat.
How many credit cards make a statement like that? It pays to Discover. Every day, 10 children are killed by gunfire. It's time we said enough is enough. Find out what you can do. Call 1-800-WE-PREVENT. Not one more lost life. Not one more grieving family. Not one more.
Says here, Commercial Federal Bank is giving away free software or $10 when you get free checking with no minimum balance.
Ooh, free software like what?
Star Trek, MTV Unplugged,
Cool.
3D Atlas, Mayo Clinic.
Ooh, I'd like that. What about me? What about me?
Sesame Street Art Workshop, You Don't Know Jack, and more.
Oh, neat. What do you think, Grandma?
Well, I say take the $10.
Commercial Federal. It's a great bank.
Back in Norman, Oklahoma, where the Sooners have a lot of penalties and some specialty team mistakes. It has cost them. They trail 24-10 at intermission. There is a name that was synonymous with running the football here in Oklahoma back in 1969. He is Steve Owens, and he is with us right now, the Heisman Trophy winner. And Steve, you know, when we heard your name being mentioned for athletic director here, a lot of us were saying, nah, Steve's a successful businessman. He's not going to take that job. But then you took it. But it was very emotional for you to accept this position. Why?
Ron, it really was because I really never felt like that I would be the athletic director here. I was a candidate. I've always been involved with OU, but I never thought it would happen. But I really looked at it and said, hey, I really care about this program. I've been around it a long time. I need to come back. My school's calling upon me, so I came back. But it's something I never thought would happen.
Now, you're going to bring your brother Tinker in to be like assistant AD or anything? Any family thing working here?
I don't know if Tinker would want to do that or not. I think one in the athletic department in the family is enough, though.
Now, one of the things we were impressed with yesterday, Steve, was John Blake's integrity. He said, I'm not afraid to toss guys off the team if they don't play by the rules. I'm going to build this program right. With that in mind, he also has to have patience, does he not?
Well, I helped recruit John here at OU, and John and I have been very close. I think John is the thing that John Blake, the most important thing to him is our student athletes here at OU. And you really get that feel. If you've been around him, and he really cares about our student athletes. And that's the most important thing we have here. So I really feel good about John. I feel good about our staff. We got a young football team. We're making mistakes. But I look to the future, and it's, I think, a very good future. And I'm going to do everything within my power to make it happen.
Well, I had the opportunity of being with Billy Sims when he won his Heisman Trophy back in the 70s. And earlier in the afternoon, you, Billy Vessels, Billy Sims, all got little Heisman Trophy rings. And that is really special to have that. But you may have a guy here that may be into that. Is Damon Parker. He's not too shabby.
Well, I watched Damon last year as a redshirt. Didn't get to play. Damon has a lot of skills. To me, it's a combination Joe Warsh and Greg Pruitt type back. He's a tough player. I've been on the sideline out of San Diego State. He has asthma. He has trouble breathing. He just keeps coming back and fighting. Also, we got a fine quarterback, I think, in Justin Fuentes. We've got a lot of young players. The one thing that we don't have around here is a lot of patience. We're going to need to develop that. But we're going to have a good, solid program as we go forward.
Steve, best of luck. I know those of us that have followed the program excited that you're taking over here, and best of luck the rest of the year.
Thank you, Ron. It's good to see you again.
All right, Steve Owens, former Heisman Trophy winner, 24-10. They could use him on offense. We'll be back with Big 12 football right after these local messages.
It won't be easy getting to the first big conference championship game. Unless, of course, you enter the Citgo Says Go For It sweepstakes. Winners will receive an all-expenses-paid trip for 4 to the conference championship, or other prizes like free gas for a full year. So don't sit on the sidelines. Stop by your participating Citgo and enter the Citgo Says Go For It sweepstakes today.
Remember that first bike? It set you free. You could go places, see people. Whole neighborhoods opened up. But it was always more fun when a friend came along. That's why Southwest Airlines brought back Friends Fly Free. Just buy a ticket at our full unrestricted fare, and a friend flies with you free. Southwest Airlines.
It's back. SE5.
Gotta go for a ride.
Customized with air, cassette stereo, sliding rear window, alloy wheels, and chrome bumpers.
Yeah, sakes alive.
Mazda SE5.
Let me go for a ride.
Just $11,995. Or lease for $189 a month, $1,000 down.
Just let me go for a ride.
Mazda.
Got a passion for the road.
The legendary SE5.
Better check the order.
Thank you. Come again.
Better check the order. He didn't check the order. He didn't check the order.
At Sonic, we service the way you order it. Like our extra long cheese coney and crispy tater tots, right now at a special low price. So break away from the ordinary and drive into Sonic.
Sonic, driving for a change.
Johann Sebastian Bach never sounded better. This is the Bales Organ Recital Hall at the University of Kansas, made possible by a generous gift from Dane and Polly Bales of Logan, Kansas, and other private donors. It's one of the finest organ performance halls in the nation. Private support helps provide the high-quality education students can receive at the University of Kansas.
Welcome back to Owen Field in Norman, Oklahoma. We're at the half where the Kansas Jayhawks lead the Oklahoma Sooners 24-10. This is the Big 12 conference opener for both teams, but there's been a lot of action this season involving Big 12 teams. And to get you caught up on that, here's Keith Fletcher.
Kansas State and Baylor. Who would have thought it? After 4 games, they're the only unbeatens in the Big 12. 2 weeks ago, mighty Nebraska and Colorado were dealt their first loss. This past week, Kansas was given their first defeat.
Dyson's got it!
The Oklahoma Sooners are still the only winless team in the conference, and last week were beaten by Tulsa for the first time since 1943. The Sooners do, though, have perhaps some of the best young talent in the conference for first-year head coach John Blake. It's the slowest start for OU since the 0-5 start of the 1961 Sooners. This week, they get the unenviable task of trying to break the streak against Kansas. The season started with 7 Big 12 schools in the national top 25. Now that's been withered down to 4. Kansas dropped out after a close loss to Utah, while Texas dropped their second straight.
We probably made some mistakes in there. I know we had a couple holding penalties that cost us big runs, and we didn't have many penalties on defense, but a couple of the things that we did, we hurt ourselves.
The Texas A&M Aggies will try to break out of a 1-3 start, trying to bounce back from last week's loss to Colorado. A&M, Oklahoma, and Missouri are the only teams playing under 500, but now Baylor and Kansas State hold the only possibilities for undefeated seasons. Both had off last week, but both will be tested this week. KSU with Nebraska and Baylor with Texas Tech.
This is our conference now, and our goal is to win this conference, and so it's very important that we win the first ball game. And playing a very, very good Texas Tech team out there is going to be a real challenge for us. And then we go to Nebraska the next week, so you know, we've got 2 real tests facing us in our first 2 games, and I think it's imperative that we get off to a good start.
Now in the era of super conferences across the country, an undefeated season may soon be one of the rarest feats in college football. It's an era of big offense. This past week, 7 of the 9 Big 12 teams in action scored at least 24 points. Byron Hanspard now has 3 straight 200-yard rushing games. Iowa State's Troy Davis flirted with exclusive college football history, and Coy Detmer is throwing up big numbers as well. Offense is king in the Big 12 this year, and instead of having some dominant teams and some doormats, it looks as if everyone will get a share of the win and loss columns. For the Big 12 Game of the Week, Keith Fletcher reporting.
Thanks, Keith, and certainly a lot of offense in the first half of this one. 34 points combined between Kansas and Oklahoma. We're going to step aside, but when we come back, Ron and Eric will break down the first half highlights. Big 12 football will return after these local messages.
While you're sleeping, we're not. Newsline 9's Angela Buckaloo and Alex Cameron bring you the latest local news. Jed Castles has your forecast, and our CBS correspondents report national headlines from New York. Plus, you told us what you want. Consumer Watch reports. Your health questions answered, and Metro Traffic shows you the streets before you're on them. So grab another cup of coffee and turn up the sound because there's more of what you want on Newsline 9 this morning. It's more than just the news. It's the spirit of Oklahoma.
Sunday, when an archaeology dig uncovers more than the past.
What has happened here and what is going to happen here has to be sifted through.
Can an angel help one man let go of his anger?
I don't want your prayer book. I don't want your God.
And another find peace?
My family is like broken china. I would like to see it put back together.
Before it's time to say goodbye.
I can't make my peace with him. It's too late.
It is never too late.
An all-new Touched by an Angel after 60 minutes.
Frontier City was already a party, but now it's Oktoberfest! Get to Frontier City for authentic German food, Oompa bands, dancing, and plenty of ice-cold beer! Plus, the Oklahoma Chevy team's new car and truck show. Oktoberfest grounds admission is just $4.99, or enjoy the festival and all your favorite rides, shows, and attractions for just $6 more with coupons from 7-Eleven. Everybody polka! At Frontier City.
You're not going to believe the lineup we've got in store all week on Live with Regis and Kathy Lee. Monday, she's the Oscar-winning actress who's got a lot to say about the ups and downs of stardom.
People do everything for you.
Faye Dunaway. Then he gets pushed around on Roseanne, but now he's taking a stand in a chilling new role, Johnny Galecki. Plus, we'll talk to Demi Moore and share about the upcoming TV movie everyone's talking about. A sneak peek at If These Walls Could Talk, Monday on Live.
Monday morning at 9 on TV 9.
It's a celebration for kids, and you're invited. Visit the TV9 tent where you're the star of the show. Put on your play clothes if that's your cup of tea. You can even roll up your sleeves and get messy. It's a celebration of children, a festival for all ages at Hafer Park in Edmond.
Hi, I'm Stan Tatum with Columbia Edmond Medical Center. The Celebration of Children is a great place to let your child's imagination run free. You'll be amazed at what you both discover.
Minutes of football left to be played here in Norman, Oklahoma, and the Sooners find themselves on the short end of a stick, 24-10. Along with Eric Dickerson, I'm Ron Thulin. And Eric, I think when you talk about the first half for Oklahoma, you talk about penalties and mental mistakes.
You talk about lots of penalties and lots of mental mistakes. They can't make the mistakes. I know they're a young football team, but still, you cannot make those mistakes.
Now let's take a look at some of our highlights from the first half, our Lincoln Mercury highlights, brought to you by your local Lincoln Mercury dealers and America's newest sport utility, the Mercury Mountaineer. Here's the first touchdown pass for Oklahoma. Fuente finds Chris Blocker. Great catch.
Great catch by Blocker.
But then what does Oklahoma do? Well, they kick off. What does Kansas do? An excellent return by Eric Van, 101 yards.
One thing that they did was that they let them get too much penetration up front. I mean, they let them push their defense right back. And when you can let a guy get that much running room, you can almost say bye-bye to him.
That is the longest in Big 12. And then Oklahoma has a chance to score again. But this time, the Kansas line just blows right through Oklahoma. The field goal is blocked.
Once again, too much penetration up front, right up the middle. They block the field goal attempt and pick it up, and adios.
54 yards on the return. Nothing but daylight. OU had so many missed opportunities, but they could not take advantage of it. Kansas has, and that is why they have the lead at 24-10. Second half kickoff coming your way in just a moment. Stay with us as Big 12 football continues.
Citgo says, go for it. 1990, Texas A&M had just scored on Texas. With a Cotton Bowl invitation hanging in the balance, both R.C. Slocum and Texas coach David McWilliams knew the Aggies had to go for two. A tie would do no good.
It won't be easy getting to the first big conference championship game. Unless, of course, you enter the Citgo Says Go For It sweepstakes. Winners will receive an all-expenses-paid trip for four to the conference championship, or other prizes like free gas for a full year. So don't sit on the sidelines. Stop by your participating Citgo and enter the Citgo Says Go For It sweepstakes today.
The Aggies need two to win as the Texas crowd holds its breath. Bucky Richardson pitches to Darren Lewis, but Mark Berry of Texas stops him just short of the goal line. Texas wins and goes on to the 1990 Cotton Bowl.
Remember the day when you were finally this tall? Suddenly you had the freedom to go places you never could before. The sky was the limit. But it was always more fun to go there with a friend. That's why Southwest Airlines brought back Friends Fly Free. Just buy a ticket at our full unrestricted fare, and a friend flies with you free.
They have been able to exploit OU's secondary for over 100 yards. Now for the Oklahoma Sooners, the big one and the only one we really need to talk about is the penalties. They have not been able to limit the penalties. They've stopped Kansas on first down. They're throwing the ball well, but that first one supersedes everything else. And that is why Oklahoma is on the short end of the stick at 24-10. Second half stick kickoff still to come. Stay with us.
Car, take it slow. Everybody okay? Wait a minute, what's he doing? He wants more. Right there. Over there.
Diet Dr. Pepper, the taste you've been looking for.
Lots and lots, tons and tons of tennis balls. Some of the things that are on my Discover card statement, I travel quite a bit. Ooh, I didn't know that the golf balls around here. Just relax, enjoy nature, and very good. Labidochromis, caeruleus. They don't want to play with me now because I beat them 90% of the time. I'll take out $100 to buy the bait, gas up the boat.
How many credit cards make a statement like that?
See, what else do I have on
It
this?
pays to Discover. Use it where you see the Novus sign.
The University of Oklahoma is on the move. We're building the largest university-based natural history museum in the world. And with students from over 100 countries, we're creating an international study center to prepare our students to live and work in the global community. OU ranks #1 in the nation per capita of all public universities in the number of National Merit Scholars on our campus. Watch us. You'll be hearing a lot more about the University of Oklahoma.
You know, life's unfair. Showing you these freshly baked Pizza Hut pizzas when you're this hungry? A choice of 12 toppings, piping hot, 3 amazing crusts, unbearably tempting. It's just not fair. But at least these prices are. $7.99 for a medium pizza with 1 topping or $12.99 for 2. Pick up the phone and call us. What's that? Oh, you've already ordered from somewhere else, have you? Well, it's just not your day, is it, my man?
Sunday, when an archaeology dig uncovers more than the past.
What has happened here and what is going to happen here has to be sifted through.
Can an angel help one man let go of his anger?
I don't want your prayer book. I don't want your God.
And another find peace?
My family is like broken china. I would like to see it put back together.
Before it's time to say goodbye.
I can't make my peace with him. It's too late.
It is never too late.
And all you touch by an angel after 60 minutes.
The second half is brought to you by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. And by Mazda. Experience cars and trucks built with a passion for the road. Mazda. And by Discover Card, proud partner of the Smithsonian's 150th anniversary. Along with Brian Nooner and Eric Dickerson, I'm Ron Thulin, welcoming you back to Norman, Oklahoma, where Kansas has a 14-point advantage over the Sooners. Kansas deferred at the opening toss, so they'll receive here in the second half.
Number 22, Henley, and 25.
Van and Henley set to receive the kick.
Well, the reason Oklahoma's behind this football game is no mistakes and turnovers.
It is Van. Let's take a look at our Discover Card halftime stats brought to you by Discover Card, proud partner of the Smithsonian's 150th anniversary. And when you look at the total yards, one thing that stands out is Damon Parker of Oklahoma has 129 total yards himself. Kansas only with 138. But look at the rushing. Only 30 yards for Kansas.
That's a big stat.
Big stat. When you have a guy averaging over 200 yards a game, your team averages about 276 a game. We have an injured player on the field. Actually, a couple of injured players on the field. For Oklahoma, or for Kansas, it is Eric Van. And for Oklahoma, it's Terrence Malone, an inside linebacker who's going to be hobbling off. Malone is a backup to Dale Allen at that linebacker position. Good news that Eric Van's all right. He is a fine, fine runner, the junior out of El Dorado, Kansas. Kansas will begin 1st and 10, their own 25-yard line. They lead it by 14. Henley and Sanders in the backfield. Gordon in motion. Henley, the ball carrier, slips one tackle. This time they need two to bring him down. Ghana Joseph and Anthony Fogle finally wrap it up Henley, but we have another penalty flag down. That'll be our 17th of the game. I'm telling you, they're doing the Macarena down there. That's a new move.
Penalty into the run.
All he has to do is touch his hips and swivel, and we'll be rocking up here. Matt Johnner, excellent first half. 11 of 15, over 100 yards, threw a touchdown pass. Now Oklahoma again making the mistake. 1st and 10, ball now on the 30-yard line. I'm sure John Blake, who looks like he gave his team the riot act at halftime.
Well, I'm sure he did, because they made a lot of mental mistakes, turned the football over, special teams playing bad. You really can't do that.
Well, I tell you what, Oklahoma just bought a break. They had 12 men on the field. They were trying to hustle somebody off. And while the guy was getting off, the officials were about to throw the flag for 12 men on the field.
False start.
Kansas jumped off sides.
First down.
That was Cleve Roberts, the right guard. Now, Cleve, you bought the Sooners a break, big guy. I like the tattoo on the arm. Looks like a barbed wire on that right arm of the big guy.
That's a fad. Now everybody has a tattoo. How about you?
No. I don't like tetanus shots. Well, I'm not going to let somebody put a needle in me. What would I get, Eric? Come on.
I don't know. Get a Sooner.
Kansas calls the timeout. Little confusion. And Matt Johnner will head to the sidelines to talk to Glenn Mason. We have a timeout. 14-12 left to play in the third. Jayhawks still up by 14.
Take a look at this. With Nations Bank PC Banking, this is how you pay your bills. See this thing here? Click on that. Then you go to this little doodad and click on that. Then you type in that and do that. Oh, am I being too technical? Anyway, with Nations Bank PC Banking, you can pay all your bills like this anytime you want to. I love that.
It's back. SE5.
Gotta go for a ride.
Customized with air, cassette stereo, sliding rear window, alloy wheels, and chrome bumpers.
Yeah, six alive.
Mazda SE5.
Let me go for a ride.
Just $11,995. Or lease for $189 a month, $1,000 down.
Just let me go for a ride.
Mazda.
Got a passion for the road.
The legendary SE5.
She said what?
The tissue is damaged.
You have got to be kidding. No way, she didn't. Going to ask me to put a job. I know. And then Sally said Tommy told Sandy to ask me if I would ever consider going out with Gary. No way.
John Blake finds himself down by 14 in an 0-3 season, looking at 0-4. And some would think the pressure of the alumni would be something big on John Blake. His former boss, Barry Switzer, said, John, don't worry about that.
Well, I don't think John worries about those things right now. He can't. He certainly shouldn't be worried about that. He's got a job to do, and he can't worry about what the alumni expect and demand. They're not realistic sometimes. All alumni that way. OU alumni are not unique to that experience of wanting instant success. It doesn't happen in this game. It takes a while to gain it, and it's even harder to maintain it.
Eric, you know something about that alumni pressure. You felt it at SMU, and when you have success, it's all good, except it does breed expectations. Some are unfair.
It breeds a lot of expectations. The one thing Coach Switzer said is it doesn't happen right away. The alumni wants it to happen right away, but it just cannot. And I think with Coach Blake here, they will get what they want, but it will take a couple of years.
Now, Jim Moore, the recipient of the pass. And he is hit. Anthony Fogle made the hit, but I think there may be a penalty on the play.
Is that a surprise?
Yeah, really. Here we go again.
5-yard penalty defense, face mask.
th penalty for Oklahoma. 91 yards. Not a whole lot you can say.
You just have to stop having these penalties. That's all you can say.
So it brings up a 2nd down and 4 situation for Kansas. Malone set back behind Matt Johnner. Hosea Friday in motion. Play action again. OU trying to show containment. Johnner is rushed. He is going to be sacked. A 6-yard loss. Travian Smith, the junior from Tatum, Texas. He's helped out by Broderick Simpson, who really put the initial pressure on. Smith will register the sacker.
That was a nice play by Travian Smith. He was almost blocked on that play. If you see on the replay, when the quarterback rolls out, the tight end was trying to block Travian Smith, but he never, ever gave up. He kept coming, and that's why he got the sack.
Travian Smith played a little defensive end in 1995. He is fast and he is raw. 3rd down and 11. 4 wide receivers for the Jayhawks. Johnner looking over the middle. Pass is complete. What a catch. Isaac Bird, the 6'2 senior out of St. Louis, Missouri. He used every bit of that 6'2 frame. This is a young man who's also a center fielder for the Kansas baseball team. Hit .393 last spring. He also shows he can catch a football.
You see why he catches football. He plays baseball also. That was a nice route he ran. It was like a 10-yard in route.
He was a quarterback till 1994, and then they switched him around to wide receiver. A pickup of 16 on the play. Kansas 1st and 10, 12:51. Ball on the Sooner 49-yard line. Again, the Oklahoma defense led by Broderick Simpson, wrapping up June Henley. Let's take a look at our Dr. Pepper Roundup scores from around the NCAA. North Carolina State pitching a shutout, so Syracuse. Purdue still leading Minnesota. Navy's pulled away from Duke in the 3rd. Michigan blanking Northwestern. Florida pulled down to a stubborn Danny Ford's team down in Arkansas. And Michigan State, Iowa tied up in the 3rd. Alabama on top of Kentucky and Bill Curry. Illinois leading Indiana. That's early on. 2nd and 8. I formation. The fake pitch. Looking for Isaac Bird again, but instead they go right down the middle. They've got a man. It is incomplete. Pass interference, Oklahoma. Intended for John Gordon. Yana Joseph got tangled up with Gordon. He didn't look up soon enough, it appeared. Have we gone one drive without a penalty? I don't think we have, have we?
I don't think so.
We have.
I don't think you know how.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was incidental contact.
Defense, 15 yards, 1st down.
Well, it's 15 yards, but nevertheless, it adds to the total.
One thing about the defender, you cannot just stick your hands up in the air without going for the football. The ball is thrown a dead line right down the middle of the field. He just kind of put his hands up, almost in the receiver's face. Look at this angle. He sticks his hands up in the receiver's face. He's not really going for the football. He's going for where the receiver is going.
I'm not sure he knew where the football was.
I don't think he did.
184 yards. That's not rushing, folks. That's penalty yards. This would qualify as ugly. Kansas going right at the belly of the Oklahoma defense, and there's not much there. Kelly Gregg, Martin Chase clogging up that middle.
Chase and Kelly Gregg.
One thing about
waiting for June Henley to explode, though. I think everybody is.
I think everybody is.
13 carries, only 34 yards. His carries are down, but more importantly, so are the yards.
Inside the 30-yard line. 2nd and 8.
2nd and 8 for Kansas. Ball just a shade inside Oklahoma's 30. Couple of tight ends, I formation. Henley tries the left side. The containment was not there. He lunges for the first down, and I think he's going to be right on top of him. Now they're going to mark it about 1.5 yards short.
He was taken out of bounds by Travian.
Eric, when you were running the football, especially on a sweep, you had to almost feel where that first down marker was.
You had to get a feel for it. You had to almost smell that marker to try to get to it. Do anything, scratch, crawl, fight, spit, spend what it takes to get to that first down marker. I mean, you have to. Right here, he has to do whatever it takes. You have to, because he's trying to get back inside to stay in bounds, get to that first down marker.
3rd and 1. Henley is going to be stacked up right at the line of scrimmage. Roderick Simpson is the first one to lower the boom. And Henley went back about 4 yards after that initial hit, and Kelly Gregg also in on that.
That Oklahoma defense, once they get that penetration, that's what all defensive coordinators love. For their defense to get into your backfield if you're trying to run the football. Just give you problems, disrupt the play.
4th and 1, and Kansas is going for it. Henley in the I formation. Sanders in front of him. The pitch to Henley, sweeps it wide. He won't get it. The linebackers, the seniors on this defensive side of the football, made the big play, Peters and Simpson.
The linebackers made that play. They are running linebackers. That's dangerous also for a running back. When you're running not up straight up the field, but east and west, is really, really hard because the linebackers, they really have the angles on you. Right here, you watch the linebackers. The linebackers are going to point of attack. 2 of them, unblocked linebackers. No one touches them. That's what sets that play down.
And I think your defensive coordinator, Bill Young, you like the fact you had 4 red jerseys around the football when he made the corner.
You're very, very happy.
Now it's the Oklahoma Sooners' chance to go to work. They lead at 24-10. We've played just about 4.5 minutes here in the 3rd quarter. Sooners able to hang 282 yards on the Kansas defense in that first half. Most of those coming from young Damon Parker. Parker's the leading receiver, and he's the leading rusher for Oklahoma so far. Parker has some running room. Gets hit hard as he crosses the 34. That's where he's going to be dropped. He's got a little Billy Sims in him, just in the fact that he's able to turn his body. Remember how Billy used to do that, E?
Most definitely.
And he's got that little working. He's got that working for him.
He's got that Joe Washington, those feet like Joe Washington. Always moving, always moving.
Doesn't have the shoes, though. Doesn't have those silver shoes.
For a freshman, he has 4 foot, 45 carries to 437 yards this year.
Well, on 2nd and 1, he picks up 4. He's nearing that 100-yard mark again. Parker's got more yards rushing the football than Kansas does. The Jayhawks only with 39. As we mentioned, they came up with 276 a game coming into today's contest. well short of that goal, and they wanted to establish the run.
You have to give OU's defense a lot of credit. The guys up front are really, really playing tough. Those linebackers are getting penetration. They're running very, very well. And the defensive corners are coming in for support.
1st and 10. That was 6 written all over it. It's going to be an interception. Jason Harris comes up with the 5th interception of the year for the Kansas Jayhawks. Fuentes tosses his 4th. That was telegraphed, and it didn't have a whole lot of zip and zing on it.
No, he looked right where he was going to throw that football. Right here on the replay, you see. He's looking where he's throwing. I mean, he's looking dead at the receiver. Also, the defensive back is where he's throwing also, and everyone else in the stadium.
Another turnover for the Sooners. 9:22 left in the 3rd. Kansas comes up with another big play.
A reminder, ladies and gentlemen, that the next game for the Sooners.
When you're in the mood for dessert, Sonic gives you a whole new menu of choices. Introducing Sonic's new frozen favorites. Banana splits, hot fudge cake sundaes, root beer floats, creamy vanilla cones, old-fashioned malts and shakes, banana fudge sundaes, and more. Frozen favorites at Sonic. Sonic, driving for a change. Together we are better than we could ever be alone. We'll be a team forever. The world is ours to own. You're a part of me, a heart of me. Dr. Pepper, you're a part of me.
Introducing the Mercury Mountaineer. With available all-wheel drive, standard V8 power, and the kind of comfort you'd expect only in a Mercury. It's the perfect go-anywhere, do-anything vehicle, even if all you're doing is just running out for a few groceries. The 1997 Mercury Mountaineer.
After the interception, Kansas takes over. 1st and 10 from the OU 43-yard line. They're already leading 24-10. And the OU defense spending a lot of time on the field here in the second half. 2 turnovers for Oklahoma, none for Kansas. That's Kansas's story, too. Now Matt Johnner is going to have to whistle his 2nd timeout. He has 1 remaining.
Kansas.
Well, we talked about Brian Bosworth, how good he was for that Oklahoma defense, but there was another good one that played here a few years ago. Now a member of the Dallas Cowboys, Tony Casillas, and he is with Brian Nooner right now. Brian?
Yeah, pretty good defensive lineman, and he's doing a nice job in the NFL, but it was at OU where you made your big mark in football. Tony, you're back for homecoming.
Yeah, it's nice to be back. We have the weekend off, and it's a little different now. You have grass, and but this is the environment being here in college football. College football is a lot of fun, so it's nice to be in that environment.
We talked to Brian earlier, and I watched his reaction. I've been watching you. These penalties are driving you nuts, aren't they?
Oh, any team you play, if you had this many mistakes and penalties, I mean, we're a young football team, so that's going to happen. But any team you play, you're not going to win. You're not going to have success.
All right, John Blake, I believe, was a senior when you were a redshirt freshman. Yeah. He was on the coaching staff with Dallas. What's it like to come back and see Big John on the sidelines as the head coach here at OU?
Well, I'm really happy for him. I'm proud of him. He's got the opportunity. I wish this would have happened a long time ago, but under circumstances, it's probably the best thing that's happened for our program here, and I think he's going to do a great job.
All right, I know you got a message for Eric Dickerson. You said if you put on the pads, he's got to put on the pads, and you'll meet him on the field, right?
Well, Eric, it's my day off today. I would do it, but I mean, I think he still has it in, so I don't want any of them.
All right, Tony, thanks a lot for joining us.
Fake reverse. They throw it out in the flat to June Henley, and it's dropped. There, we saw Brian Bosworth with the string hanging in the front, little fashion statement. Now we have Tony. He looks like he's a little WWF about him, doesn't he? Or
Tony
some martial arts movie.
He looks cool. He looks real cool. Tony, it's a fad. He's got a cool look. But you tell Tony, I'm too old right now. I'm too old. He should have called me about 6 years ago.
Looks like he should be in one of those martial arts movies.
I think you've been watching too many Kung Fu movies.
I think he is, too. Wherever his mom knows he wears his hair.
No, I'm talking about you.
Like me. 2nd down. And 6 to go. They're going to keep it on the ground. The Sooners had a chance to drop him in the backfield. They do catch him. Henley able to fight his way back to the line of scrimmage. Almost lost about 3 on that play.
One thing that's really hurting OU is putting too much pressure on the defense. The defense is on the field entirely too long.
Luckily, the sun never came out the way they'd expected it to come out today. Temperatures were supposed to be in the mid to high 70s. Not anywhere near that right now. 3rd down and 5. Big 3rd down play for the Sooners. Henley, the lone setback. Bird wide to the right. They locked it up, going for 6, incomplete. That was the right play call. When you get Isaac Bird one-on-one with one of those young quarterbacks, you want to try to abuse that.
They had the right play call on that. The quarterback drops back, he looks, throws, but he just overthrows the receiver by about a hair. If you'd have caught that, that would have been, I don't know if he'd had 6, but he should have had a first down.
Royal averaging about 41 yards a kick so far. He is standing on his own 46-yard line. It's a fake, and the Sooners are right there. They snapped the ball to Eric Galbraith, the fullback. But Oklahoma must have seen that tape from Utah last week on the fake field goal that ended up in a touchdown, and they knew that Glenn Mason had that in his package.
You got to give Oklahoma's defense a lot of credit. They are playing very tough up front. I think they were waiting for this play. Right away, nobody fell for it. Everyone just stepped straight ahead. Normally, the guys up front would be falling back, but they just stepped right straight to it.
Now it's the Oklahoma offense taking over. This time the running game loses about a half a yard. It is Parker again. Tony Blevins coming up from that free safety spot to make the stop. Well, one thing Damon Parker is, Steve Owens was mentioning, he does have asthma, but here's how he steps up against some of the first-year running backs. Obviously, Spencer Tillman, now a sportscaster, is number 1. Vessels, Holloway, Owen. The top 4. Parker is inching up to that group. You don't see Billy Sims' name in there because he didn't play a whole lot his freshman year.
Well, as a freshman, Parker's really done a great job. He really has.
Fuente throwing into coverage. Very dangerous. Tony Blevins was just sitting there waiting for that ball to come right to him. But Damon Parker has that asthma. He said against San Diego State, they had to play on the baseball field because of the baseball season was still in progress. Said he could not even breathe. And anybody who has asthma knows it's like breathing through mud.
Well, anytime it's sand around, it really gives you a big problem. I had some guys I played with that had asthma. Anytime we played with the fields that had sand, a lot of sand gave them a lot of problems.
3rd and 10 for Oklahoma. Fuente puts it up deep down the sideline, incomplete. So his last 4 or 5 passes, that one intended for Gerald Williams, have been well off the mark. And it seems like the timing just isn't there right now for the young redshirt freshman.
Well, I think they're getting frustrated. I think they want something big to happen, trying to make a big play. When you do that, you make mistakes. You overthrow plays, you throw interceptions. You just have to wait and bide your time.
Brian Lewis set to kick. Isaac Bird will receive it. High spiral. Bird calls a fair catch right at the 13-yard line, and that's where Kansas will begin. We have a timeout. 7:10 left in the 3rd. The Jayhawks by 14, and Big 12 football will return after these local messages.
What can Midas do for you today?
Already he's gained. And it is Henley, and he is going to be corralled behind the line of scrimmage. Baron Tanner coming in from that right tackle spot, the senior out of Athens, Texas.
Tanner was almost untouched on that play. Right on the replay, you see him. He's almost untouched. I think the offensive guard forgot to block him.
I think you're right. Loss of 5 on the play. This is the 2nd year in a row Kansas has played here in Norman. They won last year. And believe it or not, that snapped a 20-year losing streak in Norman. In 1975, they upset the then #2 Sooners 23-3. Snapped a 28-game win streak by Oklahoma. Johnner's got to scramble. He's got a bunch of red jerseys after him. Just throws it away, and it's knocked down. It's Tanners and Peters this time coming in to put the pressure on.
Talked to Peters yesterday. One thing I like about him, he said that he had to step his game up. He's a leading tackler on the football team. He said, I'm going to have to step my game up. And right here, he's stepping his game up. He's a relentless pursuer.
Well, you saw number 40, one of the guys pursuing the football. That is Chris Justice, a redshirt freshman. His cousin's David Justice, plays for the Atlanta Braves. 3rd and 15 for Kansas. Johnner straight back, a lot of pressure. Intercepted and then dropped. Oh, my goodness. Tyrell Peters looked like he had golden goalposts.
I think that slipped through Tyrell's hands.
And the Sooner defense again steps up to the challenge. And I think we did have a penalty flag. The official went over and picked it up, put it in his pocket. We weren't sure if it was a penalty or not. It may be pass interference. I noticed the right cornerback for Oklahoma put quite a chuck block on somebody split wide to the side. And it was well past the line of scrimmage.
Anytime you give the quarterback that much time to run around, the defensive backs, they have to run around with the receivers. You have busted plays, and that's when a guy gets open. Or you have a pass interference because you have to hold someone who's got behind you.
Defense. First down.
Well, I think it was a chuck, and I think John Blake doesn't have a big argument here. There was contact on the play. And it may have been Anthony Fogle. It's out of your picture. It was on the right-hand side of your screen, but you see the pressure. It wouldn't have been on that play. I think it was prior to that. Well, if that's pass interference, there's no way.
I think that's the pass interference. That's not pass interference.
There's no way.
That's going for the ball. I think these referees just want to throw that flag now.
I think they're so accustomed to grabbing for it. First man through the hole, and it's a big one, and it's a foot race. Mike Sanders, can he make it? Being dragged down from behind by Cedric Stevens. He started at the 25. There was a big hole right in the middle. Makes his way down to the 13-yard line. And we have an injured Sooner down on the field.
It was only a matter of time that defense would wear down. They've been on the field too long. And it's just a matter of time. They played a great football game. They're still playing hard, but you cannot keep your defense on the field this long.
And we still
right
have
up the
Sooner
middle.
down.
That's just an old wham play, and the fullback takes off right straight up the center of the field.
Sanders did not have a carry coming into this game. That is worth 62 yards.
Number 13, Terry White.
And boy, that hurts again. You have a team stopped, and you have the pass interference. You can't give a good team like Kansas second, third, and fourth opportunities, and you can see that OU has had a problem giving up big plays. 7 touchdowns have come off big plays. Against Tulsa, they had 9 plays more than 10 yards, including a 99-yarder. That was a touchdown. And talking to Glenn Mason earlier this week, he said, don't kid yourself. These guys have athletes. What happens is they'll stop you 3 or 4 plays, then they'll have a blown coverage.
Well, they stopped them more than 3 or 4 plays. They stopped them a lot of plays. What happens is the defense is just on the field too long.
Now John Blake is pleading his case to referee John Laurie.
I'm sure he's talking about that pass
I think
interference.
he is too.
They'll never call that back.
I think he's saying when a guy's going for the football, how can it be pass interference, especially when it was being touched by the other defender? I think John does have a beef. I take it back what I said before. I think he may have a beef on that one.
They should have instant replay in college.
And now Glenn Mason getting into it.
He's like, get off the field, let's go.
And we have a timeout. Well, one thing Kansas has done, they've had the football a lot of time in this football game. They have more than 9 minutes of possession time, more than the Oklahoma Sooners. They have 231 total yards, and they only had 138 at the end of the first half. So most of that time has come here in the second half. I think they've had it the whole third quarter. Now both teams head to this sideline. Does anybody want to play here, Eric? I don't think anybody wants to play.
I don't think they want to play.
Everybody went to the side. We have a timeout with 6:05 up to play in the third. 24-10 is our score. Let's take a look at the Big 12 schedule from today. We have a couple of Dannies on tap. Nebraska and Kansas State starting in about 15 minutes. Then we have, of course, Louisiana Tech. Gary Croton's done a nice job for them. They visit College Station. The Sooners and the Longhorns beaten down in Austin at the Darrell K. Royal Stadium. Baylor at Texas Tech tonight, and Missouri will take on SM. I'm not sure about those guys. They still play football?
Who is that? SMU. You know who it is.
You don't let me forget
Those Mustangs.
Now the Boo Birds are out, but I don't think they're booing the team. I think they're booing the guys in the striped unis.
And they should.
And the Oklahoma defense again. Kelly Gregg shooting in underneath from that left tackle spot. That time he used his 6-foot frame. Went right underneath the defense.
Got right underneath it. One thing about Kansas, they have not turned the ball over. They haven't made very many mistakes, and that's why they lead this football game.
That's exactly right.
2nd and 12 from the 15.
2nd and 12, ball on the Oklahoma 15-yard line. This may be a dagger in OU's heart if Kansas can punch it in. 3-step drop. They're looking in the flat for the touchdown, and it's overthrown. Intended for Bird. Johnner couldn't get it to him. 3rd and 12, ball on the 15. Well, Eric, you mentioned it early on about Kansas in the red zone. This is including today. They were 12 of 14 coming into the game, 10 of 10. Today they're 2 of 3. They got a touchdown and a 3-pointer.
They're real dangerous in this red zone.
3rd and 12.
Yeah, 12 touchdowns in this area.
Henley may have gotten back to the original line of scrimmage before the first hit was put on by Barron Tanner. Brings up a 4th down and probably 10 to go. They're going to bring in Jeff McCord, the kicker. Already has kicked a 31-yarder. Snapper is Sean McDermott. The holder is Matt Johnner, the quarterback. The kick is up and away, and it sneaks inside. We have a penalty flag down. That goes under the heading of no kidding.
Of course, what you expect.
Now we're not letting the guys play.
It's on Oklahoma.
Personal foul. Oklahoma. The kick was good. John Blake asking, who's it on? Well, we're over 200 yards in penalties, folks, and I'm sure that's kept you riveted to the old seats. I know my father-in-law is still watching down there in Georgetown, Texas. I know he won't give up on this game. He's down there watching every play.
He's a big Sooner fan.
Oh, yeah, he was a big fan of yours. Now we have the summit going on. We do not see President Clinton inside that summit. But we do have a guy that is mediating things.
Personal foul. Gets the defense roughing the center. Automatic first down.
Well, that's the new rule in college football. You cannot hit the center. You've got to give him about a second before you can lower the boom on him, trying to keep that center from being injured. But I want to know, when you have 22 guys moving at once, Eric, how can you count one Mississippi?
Well, it's kind of hard.
It's a little difficult.
You know, I think that's a good rule because the center actually has his head down, he's looking back. He's really in a dangerous position. I think that's a real good rule to protect that center.
Well, so instead of giving up the field goal, Kansas now with 1st and goal from the 6. And OU is gift wrapping this and giving it away. Touchdown, Kansas. June Henley with his first score of the day. He leads the nation in scoring, and he adds one to that.
Well, that's just Oklahoma football, too many penalties. If you make mistakes like that, you just cannot win football games. The penalties are really hurting. Right there, they had them stop, settle for a field goal, instead they get a touchdown.
To Kansas's credit, they have taken advantage of every Oklahoma miscue. McCord is perfect on the year from the extra point. But if it wasn't for all the miscues, Kansas wouldn't have that opportunity because they have not really moved the football until here in the third quarter. It would be a lot closer football game.
Kansas really hasn't done that much. They just have taken advantage of OU's mistakes right here on this run. I mean, the defense is playing well, but you just cannot put all your pressure on the defense. It's all it is a misdirection play. You start to your left and cut back to your right. Right here again, he starts to his left, cuts back to his right. The defense, I'm sure those guys are real tired.
Oh, Gannett Joseph had a chance to wrap him up. Anthony Fogle on the sideline. But the young secondary just couldn't get it.
When a running back gets that close to the goal line, he smells it.
Oh, boy, especially somebody like that, June Henley. You don't have 9 rushing touchdowns on the year and not smell the goal line.
No,
That's his 10th rushing touchdown of the year. He has 1 passing, or 1 receiving, I should say, and it's 31-10. Still have a lot of football left. Oklahoma has not had the ball a whole lot here in the second half. Brandon Daniels and Jarrell Jackson set to receive. And it is going to be Daniels. It's going to be Jackson right at the 14-yard line. Has some running room. Crosses the 30, and he is hit hard by a couple of the white jerseys. The penalty-aided scoring drive. 86 yards, 7 plays, 2 minutes and 21 seconds. June Henley runs it in. Now, for an offense that only scored 40 points the last 5 games of 1995, this offense looks like it has a great deal of potential for Oklahoma.
It has a great deal of potential if they just cut down on the penalties. I mean, they really have a dangerous weapon in Parker. They have a young, fine quarterback. The offensive line has played pretty good today, but the penalties really hurt them, jumping offside.
Let's go down to Brian Nooner, who's been roaming the sidelines. Brian, what do you have?
I'll tell you what, Oklahoma is trailing in this game, and actually the Sooners are defeating themselves with the mistakes, but I've never seen a bench in a trailing situation with such a positive attitude. And if you'll remember, when we talked to head coach John Blake, he said his strongest quality as a coach was thinking positive, and he's trying to carry that on, pass it along to his players. And I think it's working, and at the same time, the crowd is still here. No one's leaving. They're cheering for the Sooners, and they're going to do this together. They talk about being a family. Well, we're witnessing it here today.
Patrick Brown was putting all sorts of pressure on Justin Fuente. Justin just had to let loose before he lost his life.
Presenting on the play was Michael Allen.
The quarterback rolls out, doesn't have much time to set up at all. That's just a great play by the defense. When the time the quarterback doesn't have time to set up, you're almost sure that he's not going to complete the pass. I think this half, Fuente is 0 for 3 right now.
And he faces a 3rd down and 6. 3 wide receivers to the left. They're going to keep it on the ground, and Kansas is there to wrap them up. Excellent defense by the left side of that Kansas defensive line, again led by Patrick Brown. Patrick Brown, Adrian Green, all of them in on that stop. Adrian Green, the sophomore out of Rockledge, Florida. He's a big one at 6'3", 290 pounds, and Mike Hankwood's team did exactly what it needed to do. They have played much better here in the third quarter defensively.
For Kansas is Isaac Bird.
High kick sends Bird way back inside the 10. He'll stop at the 5. Goes to his left side. He's got some running room and people in front of him. Isaac Bird, he could go all the way. Goodbye. 95 yards for Isaac Bird. That's 106 yards in return yardage for the Kansas Jayhawks.
Special teams is very important in the football game. Very important. As you see, the Jayhawks, they take their special teams very serious.
they're going to officially say it. It's 94 yards. Mistakes and specialty teams. That is what the coaching staff's going to be looking at tomorrow. The extra point right through the uprights. And how quickly this Kansas team can take advantage of Oklahoma mistakes. 38-10 is the score. 3:08 left to play in the third quarter. And a lot of times coaches say don't take the ball out if you're inside that 10-yard line.
But you know, if you're Isaac Byrd and you think like I'm dangerous, I can return this ball, you receive that punch, you take that punch.
And you're seeing some of the Oklahoma Sooner guys were even blocked out of bounds. They were knocked clear off the football.
I think they have a problem. They overrun the play too much. They send everybody to one side.
And here's the kickoff return from the first half when Oklahoma had a 7-0 lead. Eric Vann going 101 yards. He had a convoy in front of him. Poor tackling led to the touchdown. 14 points of their 38 coming from returns. Well, Oklahoma's going to try to salvage something out of this. 38-10 is the score.
Okay, your average is 43 points a game.
43 points a game.
They're right at that today.
Fumbling right at the goal line, it is Jarrell Jackson, and he's in trouble. Down at the 10.
They're having too many problems on special teams. Dropping the passes, blown coverage. I mean, you just can't do that. You really can't. You have to have your guys in your lane when you go down the punt. On the punt team, the kickoff teams, guys have to be in the lane. That's very important. You have lanes.
In case you just joined us, it was 24-10 at halftime, and the game was a lot closer than that as Oklahoma was dominating defensively, allowing Kansas only 139 yards. June Henley about 30 yards rushing the football, and it seemed like we may have a game. They've done a nice job on Henley. He only has rushed for 43 yards, but there have been major miscues. Right in the middle, no place to go, the big white stop sign by Kansas. So you have to give a lot of credit to Glenn Mason, what he has done for this team. When he first got to his first spring practice as head coach of the Kansas Jayhawks, there were only 50 scholarship athletes. That is unbelievable. And to take them in that period of time up to 10 wins last year, he has done a remarkable job. And that is why University of Georgia and Vince Dooley wanted him.
Well, that is amazing. But that's what it takes. A coach has to turn the program around. That's why they hire the coaches, to turn the programs around.
Fuentes pass is complete down the sideline. Stepping out of bounds, it's Michael McDaniel. He tried to do the tightrope down that left sideline, picking up 45 on the play. Well, they haven't laid down and pitched the tent yet.
I think it's a big crossing pattern, what it was, about a 15 to 20-yard crossing pattern came across the field. Hit him on the dead run. That's important for a receiver to catch the ball on the dead run. You know, the defender had an angle on him. He wants to catch that ball on the dead run. He'll have a chance to score.
Big hole left side. It is Parker. He can go. Touchdown. Yard scamper for the young freshman. He is going to be a good one.
Well, that's what Blake and them say. They say he's going to be a good one. They have a lot of confidence in him. He's young, he's fast, he has those quick feet. And once again, they always say it's tough to tackle him with one guy. He can make guys miss in open field. And right there, you can see he can make you miss in open field.
Jeremy Alexander to kick the extra point. Snap's good, the hold is good, the kick is good. Devon Parker out of Tulsa Booker T. Washington High School. Scampers the final 45 yards, and we look at it again.
All is a sprint, draw to the right, cuts back to the left. The back has the option to go outside or right up the middle. He takes the option to go right up the middle and then break it outside. The sprint draw is such a good play because it gives the running back so many different lanes to look for. He can go inside, outside. He gets a chance to almost just sit there and just read the defensive players.
He got a great block from number 77, Tim Macias, the sophomore out of Oklahoma City at 6'2", 265. Young Tim just put his man way to the left side and opened up the big hole for Parker. 90 yards only took him 3 plays in 52 seconds. They need about 4 more of those if they expect to get back in this football game. John Blank with Barry Switzer here at the stadium watching. Has seen his team self-destruct. A lot of people have already left the stadium. We still have 17 minutes and 8 seconds to play.
You know, Parker predicted, he said he'd have 157 yards today.
I think he got it on the head. He has 189 total yards, passing and receiving. The short kick again. The Sooners trying to converge, and they finally do on Eric Van. Well, I guess they figured we don't want him to return it 101 yards, but kick it short. Jeremy Alexander, who was a semifinalist for the Lou Groza Award, had some problems kicking off earlier. This is the first time in his career he's ever kicked with a taped ankle. And it had some problems at San Diego State. He kicked a couple of out of bounds this year. And it's very uncustomary of him to do that. He's a good kicker from Claremore, Oklahoma, just a junior.
Oklahoma really just take a long look at their special teams. I mean, special teams is a big part of any football game. Like I said earlier, you can lose a football game or win a football game with just special teams alone.
Sooners need a stop. Henley dancing around in the backfield, and he is going to be upended by Broderick Simpson. That is what you call a picture-perfect tackle.
That is picture-perfect. Your linebacker coach loves that. The pursuit is keeping him going outside. They want to keep him outside. But Broderick just grabs him, holds on, picks him up, takes him to the ground.
Now, if he was down at Fort Worth, he would have beat the 7-second time clock and got a big score on there. Didn't tie his legs up, though.
He take his feet from him. He can't go anywhere with no feet.
No. See, it's hard to run. 2nd and 11. Van split out wide left. Johnner straight back. A lot of time. Pressure's now on. He dumps it off to Henley in the flat. He's got the first down and then some. Tyrell Peters just couldn't catch up to June Henley.
It's really hard for a linebacker to cover a running back out of the backfield. It's almost impossible, especially a back like Henley. As quick and fast as he is, Peters is a bigger man. That's an ideal situation. That is ideal to put him right there. He spies him, and then all of a sudden he breaks off. The linebacker's already behind. He's already beat. Once he lets the running back get 2 steps on him, he's already behind.
1st and 10, ball on the 49-yard line. First man through. Not much there. Mark Sanders on the carry. These two teams, as we mentioned, played a conference game just a few years ago. How about back in 1907? It was the Missouri Valley Intercollegiate Conference game. Kansas won that 15-0. Sanders and Van in the backfield. 3-step drop into the flat. Pass is complete to Isaac Bird. He has another first down.
It's a nice catch by Bird.
I like what Glenn Mason and also what Golden Pat Rule have done offensively here. Johnner wasn't having a whole lot of success out of the shotgun or even rolling in that first half. A lot of 3-step drop here in the second half.
A lot of 3-step drop, getting the ball out real quick because that defensive front has been putting pressure on him. Even though they were doing the play action was not fooling them not that much. So he just started dropping back, throwing the quick passes, and it's giving them a lot of problems right now.
1st and 10 inside of 35 seconds. It is Van on the left side. Cuts back, and he's going to be swarmed over. Pickup of 3 on the play. That may be the final play of the third. 38-17 is the score, and I think Kansas is going to let the final 14 seconds just run down. Well, the Sooners give up a couple more here in the second half. 7 on a return on a punt. Once again, some miscues, but the Kansas offense is beginning to show some stability. That's the end of the third quarter. 15 minutes left to play here in Norman, and the Kansas Jayhawks have a 38-7. In Oklahoma, and the Sooners are on the doorstep for their 6th consecutive loss here at Owen Field in Norman. They trail as we start the fourth quarter. June Henley now trying to open it up as he makes his way down to the 30-yard line. Pickup of 7 on the play. Corey Ivy and Ramon Burrows coming up from that quarterback spot to make the stop.
OU's defense has really corralled Henley well today. He's never had a chance to really get on track, to really open up and get wide open.
This is a guy who had a better rushing average than 5 Big 12 teams. Only 3 teams have rushed for more touchdowns than Henley this year. 3rd in the NCAA running the football, behind a couple of good ones, and Troy Davis and Byron Hanspard. And today, almost 160 yards less than what he normally gets. Henley again, right side, tries to slice his way through, gets the first down. Inside the 30, down to the 27, 28-yard line.
You know, it's really frustrating for a running back to hope that you're going to have a big day. You're looking forward to having a big day, and you don't have that big day you'd like to have.
Kansas averaging 43 points a game. The KU record is 34.5 points a game, and they're on pace to shatter that. First and 10, ball on the 27. OU showing blitz. Here they come. And they get lucky. Corey Ivy again coming from that linebacker spot. Stopping June Henley. But boy, I tell you what, Eric, as you look at it from up here, you can see things sort of develop. Kansas was about 1 block away from Henley breaking that.
I was going to say, did you see that?
It was wide open.
The blitz was coming, but if they would have missed the tackle, that was adios all the way. He was 1 block away.
Exactly. No one in the secondary waiting for him. 2nd and 10, 13:20 to play in the ball game. Henley averaging just over 2 yards a carry in this ball game. Play action pass. He's being chased. Johnner's going to run it to the 20 and steps out of bounds right at the 20-yard line. He hesitated for a second, but he's able to pull it down and pick up 7, setting up a 3rd down, and that setting up a 3rd down at about 3.
John, he runs the ball pretty well.
That wasn't bad.
No. Like it on the replay right here, he rolls out. He did the smart thing by keeping the football, too. Right there, you saw 4 open, but I think he passed the line of scrimmage, so he said, hey, I'll just keep it running upfield for the first down.
Well, he broke the containment that the OU coaches wanted to keep today. 3rd and 3. 3-step drop. First down, 1-on-1 on the corner. Isaac Byrd is very difficult to cover at his size. Mike Woods, a true freshman out of Del City, Oklahoma, number 41, in on the stop.
Well, Isaac Byrd is 6'2". He's a big receiver. He's a big target.
Honorable mention all Big 8 last year. Set numerous school records last year receiving the football. He'll have a choice of football or baseball to play on the next level. Eric Vance split out near side. Straight through the middle again. A big hole right down to the line. June Henley saw the 6 coming. Couldn't quite get the football in.
That was a great stretch by him trying to get in that end zone.
Well, if he puts this in on this play, you can pick up the hymnals. Church is over.
The fat lady hasn't sang yet.
She's humming down there. And you know, when you look at the score, people are going to say it was such a rout. That wasn't the case in the first half.
Not at all.
You got to play 60. There you see the distance. June Henley already with 1 touchdown today, leads the nation in scoring.
one thing that Kansas came out with the second half, and I guess everyone tries it. That's called the West Coast offense, the three-step drop and hit your receivers on the run. That's really worked for them the second half.
Second and goal from the 1. Henley wrapped up, and they don't put him down, and he scores. Touchdown, Kansas. June Henley with his second score of the day takes it in from the 1. It has been a long afternoon for that man, but his team is winning, and that's what counts. And a kick. It is also good. Still in the fourth quarter, 12 minutes and 17 seconds left to play. June Henley has scored a couple of times. He takes it in from inside of a yard, and that gives the Kansas Jayhawks the lead, 45-17.
Hey, Billy know I got robbed.
Should have came to Oklahoma. We tried to recruit him.
Billy Sims and David Overstreet.
Tried to get him here.
Thomas Lott, they all recruited me.
Yeah, that's right.
What kind of backfield would that have been?
Illegal.
You still have some of the great one-lines, guy.
Yeah.
Now, your Sooners have had a lot of mistakes today, Billy, and I know that's difficult for you to watch.
Very much so. You know, even the last week against Tulsa, the same old thing. And guys just got to grow up and start making plays. You know, you can't just give them excuse that they're young and all that, you know.
When's that time come where you got to say, forget about it, we got to play football?
Exactly. And I look at this team and the last week team, we played and put points on the board. But yet again, the little things and penalties and stuff really hurts it.
Well, this young quarterback that we've seen today, Justin Fuente, I think he's someone that can lead this team. He's got
I think
pretty
so.
good
I think so. It's going to take time, get some more repetition and where he can read the defense better, look, receivers off and come back to the open man. And definitely, he got a good arm on him.
Complete this time to Matt Anderson, the true freshman. But I want to know, what is Michael Rose doing wearing number 20? how come that 20 is not hanging somewhere in a rafter somewhere?
I don't, Switzer always said, well, if he tried to hang up every jersey, they wouldn't have none here. All the great, players that came through this school. So,
well, you better tell Michael to take care of 2-0.
Oh, without a doubt. I see him all the time. I actually, this past summer, I stayed up here and worked out with these guys for 2 months on and off. So he told me he's going to ride proudly.
Well, Damon Parker on the carry. Your thoughts of Parker, what kind of back he is right now? We said that he had that ability you had to sometimes turn and make guys miss him and not get that clean shot at him.
Yeah, he's a take it all the way back. He's cut out of that same mold. A lot of the great backs that came through here, he's young. He just got to concentrate on the little things for us, picking up the blitz, pass, blocking, things like that. The only problem is we need a lot more Damon Parker, so we don't want to wear him out.
On 1st and 10, Fuente upstairs, passes complete to Gerald Williams. And we're still waiting for that young man to really break out. Jason Harris on the coverage. This is a young man that's got good size, good speed, and coaches know this, just a matter of time. He's going to put together one whale of a game. And the numbers on Fuente today, the 1 interception, better than 50% of his passes, over 230 yards, again over that 200-yard mark. 1st and 10 for Oklahoma, ball on the 47-yard line.
I really think Fuente and Parker has really played a pretty complete game today, except for the interception that Fuente threw. I mean, other than that, they played a really good football game today.
Parker on the carry. Adrian Green on the first hit. Sets up a 2nd down and 5. So why don't you update us, Billy, what you're doing now?
Well, right now I'm involved with the program here at OU and just trying to do whatever I can to help, rebuild this great tradition here.
I think when a recruit comes in and sees a Heisman Trophy winner as their AD and you're on the sideline talking to them, that has to be pretty impressive for these young men.
Well, I think so. It's give us a great opportunity to have Steve as AD and myself here trying to help out. It's going to take time, and I think we can get this program back to respectability like it should be.
Pass intended for Michael McDaniel. He was there. He's saying it's his fault, but the pass was a tad behind him. Couldn't really reach around and grab it. Sets up a 3rd down and 6 situation. Ball sitting squarely on the 50-yard line.
And that's right, Billy. Just what you said. It takes time. I think that everyone has to understand it takes time to rebuild a program. I mean, this program has really went down quite a bit.
Bottom out just about.
It went down a lot. I mean, compared to the OU of old.
Right, right. And I think it's going to be even tougher, you know, Eric, especially with the Big 12. The recruit's going to be even tougher to come by.
Parker over 140 yards rushing the football, lowered the head on that one, took quite a lick. Not good enough for the first down. And I think OU's going to go ahead and go for it. Gerald Williams remains in the ball game, so does Fuente. 4th down and 4 with 10:19 left to play. The Sooners trailing by a bundle. Quick snap, 3-step drop. They look in the flat. The pass is complete to Rose, and he is going to be awfully close to that first down. We're going to have to see where the officials mark it. If he's going to mark it right there, that is a first down.
If he'd got that pass up a little bit, I think Rose would still be running.
Are you surprised, Billy, that one thing I noticed here is the fact that even last week against Tulsa, no booing by the fans. They seem like they're really in on this.
Well, that's good, you know, because the players need all the support they can, can get from the fans. The fact they're a young team and everything, so the booing doesn't really help anything.
Well, Kansas called their final timeout, and they did it as Oklahoma was trying to run the play, and Kansas was trying to shuttle in some players. And that is why John Blake and his staff didn't like it. 10 minutes left to play in a ball game. 45-17 is our score. We'll be back after a word from off return. Bird, a 94-yard punt return. And Damon Parker's done his job, carrying the ball for 144 yards, but in the second half, Kansas has come alive offensively, and that is where we are right now. Justin Fuente still the quarterback. OU 1st and 10. Ball on the Kansas 43-yard line. Straight drop over the middle. He has a man complete to Michael McDaniel all the way down to the 9-yard line.
I thought that was a blown coverage as he just got behind the defensive back.
Boy, McDaniel is having quite a day today. He had 5 receptions, the highest in his career last week against Tulsa. He's at 5 now today. Wide open.
He just beat the defensive back off the line.
Now for the second week in a row, he's over 100 yards receiving. Parker can't bounce outside. He's going to lose about 3 on the play.
Offensive line.
The offensive line, you're exactly right. You know, and I was talking to Merv Johnson. He said this is the most unexperienced line he's ever seen in his 17 years here, even as far as depth is concerned. And you go down the line, you see Bruce McClure has played some, but everybody else limited playing time last year. Played very little last year. Didn't play last year.
But, you know, even considering all that, the offensive line has done a decent job compared to, what we thought they was going to do.
They've got 5 guys redshirted that are going to be good ones in years to come.
Yeah. One thing they got a problem with is just jumping offside. So they have to listen to the cadence. I think they're in such a hurry to get to the line of scrimmage, get the playoffs, but they're not listening to what the snap count is.
How about you guys? I've had a ball today. I've had Steve Owens, a Heisman winner. I got Billy Sims next to me now, a Heisman winner, and a guy that should have won a Heisman, Eric Dickerson, on my other side.
You know what to say.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm enjoying this.
In Oklahoma, he won one.
This big time. He's not going to let you forget it, E. On 3rd down and 7. Fuente looks for the end zone, incomplete, bringing up a 4th down play for the Sooners. Brandon Daniels, the true freshman out of Ada, Oklahoma, the intended receiver. Brings down a 4th down and goal to go. Ball sitting down at 7. Rose coming back into the lineup for Oklahoma. Looking at from in the end zone, down low.
This play right here, the receiver just, basically, I think he just slipped down. No, he didn't slip down. He dove at the ball. He threw it in the corner. There wasn't much room in that corner to throw the ball.
4th and goal. Gerald Williams wide right. Fuente looking for him across the middle to the tight end. Touchdown, Oklahoma.
They'll concentrate and hold on. I tell you.
Jason Freeman, subbing for the injured Steven Alexander, took quite a shot. But the sophomore from Muskogee, Oklahoma, able to pull it down.
You know you're going to get hit, so you might as well hold on to it. If you miss it, they're going to hit you. If you catch it, they're going to hit you. You might as well get your name in the paper.
He's shaking off the cobwebs out of the head. Extra point by Alexander. 45-23 is the score. Alexander's extra point is good. Makes it a 45-24. Billy Sims, thanks for spending some time with us. Best
thank
of
you.
luck.
It was a pleasure. Real good.
Billy Sims has been our guest, but his Sooners are trailing by 3 TDs, 45-24. We'll be back.
While you're sleeping, we're not.
And is our Sonic drive-in play of the game.
Anytime you go 100 yards on one play, you deserve it.
That's exactly right. Actually, our play of the game was Billy Sims letting you try on his Heisman ring. We should have got that.
Yeah, that should be my. I should have a ring like that. I'm jealous.
I should be 7 feet tall playing in the NBA, Eric, with hair still.
I'm 6 feet tall with no hair.
There you go. Now let's see if the Sooners try an onside kick. They were practicing it yesterday, and Alexander was very, very good at it. Kansas expecting it. There it is. But it's right into the hands of a Jayhawk at the 44-yard line. Didn't even go the necessary 10 yards. Isaac Bird's there to snatch it.
I don't think he got the bounce on it he wanted. And anyway, Isaac Bird is 6'2".
Timeout. 8:22 left to play. We'll be back right after this word from Dr. Pepper. And it's 85 Dr. Pepper bottlers. Happy to bring you this inaugural season of Big 12 football. He is calling the signals. He was expected to be the starting quarterback this year to that torn ACL. Let's go down to Brian Nooner now with a gold medal winner, Brian.
Yeah, Ron, you always like to say golden goalpost. Well, I've got gold right here. The real thing, that is a gold medal from the Summer Olympics in Atlanta. And joining me now is the recipient of that, Jason Rouser. He went to school here at Oklahoma. He won the gold as a member of the 4x400 relay team. And hey, Jason, I remember when you ran in the Big 8, you ran that 200, you'd come around that turn, you'd nail it, and I guess there's a lot of pride representing Oklahoma and the United States in Atlanta.
Oh, yeah, a lot of pride. It was fun to represent the United States as well as Oklahoma, my family and friends at games in Atlanta. I had a real good time. It was a wonderful experience from the opening ceremonies to competition to closing ceremonies. I had a great time.
Well, Ron Thulin was talking about how many autographs Brian Bosworth's signing. I think you're equaling his feat today. You're a pretty popular person.
Hey, I have no problem with signing autographs. I mean, I don't want to be forgotten, and I'll try to sign any and every autograph as I can. So, yeah, I love to sign autographs.
How tall are you, Jason?
6'6".
All right, you're 6'6". You got this amazing speed. Now, was there ever a thought in your mind that you might want to play football?
Actually, football was my first love. When Oklahoma won the national championship in 1985, I told my dad, I'm going to go play for Barry Switzer one day playing football. But I had changed my mind, like going through high school, wondering what's going to pay for my education, so I chose track. But I do love the sport. I miss it a great deal, but I also love track and field as well.
All right, Jason, congratulations on the gold. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thank you.
All right, Ronnie, let's send it back up to you.
Thank you, Brian. Okay, Eric, what's the deal with the sunglasses there? How does he get them things to stay on?
About those glasses. How do you get those glasses to stay on? I want a pair of those. I'm jealous.
I'll tell you, that's pretty. We got Bosworth hanging with the string, and we got these. Look at this. How do they stay on?
What's going on here, Jason? Oh,
man.
Okay, all right.
Oh, that'll.
Hey, Jason, now when these sunglasses?
That'll impress
Nike
women.
came out with some eyewear this year for the Olympics for the athletes in Atlanta, and they'll be out in stores here pretty soon, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
They stay on.
I think Eric's going to want a pair of those. Hey, thanks,
Just leave those at Brown. I'll pick them up on the way out.
But you got to have 2 blue dots on the side of your head.
Hey, that's okay. I got dark skin. Nobody noticed.
That doesn't help me. Eric Van on the carry. Goes around the right side. 7:05 left to play. 45-24. The Sooners trailing by 21.
Sooners defense has not given up. That's a good sign. Even though they're young, they still have not given up.
Exactly right. That was good enough for a first down. Clock continuing to run.
But the coaches really need to take a long, good look at their special team plays.
This Ben Roots was going to be a good one. Originally committed to Nebraska out of high school, but he did it 2 weeks before they signed Tommy Frazier. Spent a couple of years at Northeastern Oklahoma Junior College, led them to a national title. Decided to come to Kansas. Eric Galbraith with the carry. Both quarterbacks in the spring were injured. Johnner with a sprained knee, and of course the ACL for Roots, but they like him. They said he had an excellent week of practice. Glenn Mason telling me that they're not going to be afraid to try to get him into the ball game today because they like going into this meat of the Big 12 conference schedule with 2 quarterbacks. And when you have 2 guys that control the football and they want to do more of that, gives you that much more arsenal.
But 2 is always better than 1.
Clock running, nearing 6 minutes. 2nd down and 7. Two wide receivers to the left. I formation. Sooners showing blitz. Here they come again. Galbraith able to get by the first wave, but not the second.
Once again, when you blitz like that, you leave yourself open for the back door for the big long run. Right there, once again, if they wouldn't have made that tackle on that second wave, it would have been a touchdown.
Now the Sooners rolled up 472 yards offense. Kansas sitting at about 340 right now. OU, however, looking a little tired defensively. We've had 22 penalties for over 200 yards. And that has been the real story of this football game. That and specialty teams. Kansas has had the ball 10 minutes longer than Oklahoma.
I think a year ago, the Sooners played the Jayhawks for 3 hours and 20 minutes.
Galbraith being stacked up. Close to the first down.
That is the 11th longest game in Big 12 history. And I think we might top that today.
I think we're going to. Roderick Simpson looks like the right arm is just dangling. He's going to come off to the side. Matt Johnner had an excellent day. He was very consistent. He did what he had to do as a quarterback. Hats off to that young man.
He played a very good, smart football game today.
Bruce going to put it up for the first time. It is complete, and it's a touchdown. Ben Roots wide open, number 84, Brian Gray. Gray, the 6'3", 225-pound sophomore out of Liberty, Missouri.
Oh, this is a play action. Like the play action, once again, it frees the defense, makes them go from their left to right. Tight end's wide open.
And that is Brian Gray's first catch of the year. First touchdown. The extra point is good. And the lead is a lot. 52-24 is our score. Kansas leading the Oklahoma Sooners on their way to their first Big 12 win.
Lead car. Take it slow. Everybody okay?
A kick, a punt, blocked a field goal, all for scores. 269 yards in return yardage.
Well, the special teams actually won this football game in turnovers and just penalties.
Well, they had more return yardage than passing and rushing. They only had 175 yards passing, 180 rushing, and 269 returning.
You know, Kansas hasn't beaten OU 2 times in a row since 1929. That's a long time.
Well, let's take a look at the Nations Bank upcoming schedule. Nations Bank, proud sponsor of the Big 12 upcoming schedule. On the 12th next week, they'll have Texas Tech at home, then a big showdown against Colorado before they take to the road for a couple. End up the season at Missouri. And after this play, we'll take a look at the Oklahoma Sooner schedule, and it does not get any easier. 52-24, 4:25 left to play. New quarterback in is Eric Moore. He began the season as the #1 signal caller, and his first pass is complete. Terrence Brown, the wide receiver.
Eric Moore completes the pass to number 3.
At 6'1", a senior out of Fort Bend, Texas, Willow Ridge High School. A 3-year letterman comes up with a reception, and it's a big one.
It's a nice pass by Eric Moore. He rolls out, looks downfield. The receiver actually beat the defensive back on a one-on-one coverage, a man-to-man. Receivers love to get that man-to-man outside because they don't have anyone to beat but the guy right over him.
50 yards on the reception. Stutter stepping in the backfield. It is James Allen. He's He turned around and looked at the goal line, I think. He knew he was getting close to it.
You know, I think that was just nervous. He was nervous.
Yeah. Well, Oklahoma moving all over the offensive line again. Already with 128 yards of penalties. They're going to add a couple more to that. Once again, we apologize for some audio difficulties we just had. Our technician, who is in the satellite, 25,000 miles up, not doing a very good job. He won't be back with us next week. Well, John Blake's going to call a timeout. 3:15 left to play in the ball game, and his Sooners are on the short end of the stick. To stay on his feet on 4th and 11, and he is going to be dropped, and he just pounds the turf. He saw the opening E, but he just couldn't get it going.
Yep, that's just frustration is what it is. Missed that block on the outside, get sacked.
Something you saw there was very small, but yet it was big. You saw Eric Moore start to take off his helmet as he left the football field, and he quickly put it back on again. John Blake's got a rule on that, I think. He doesn't want any of his players losing any integrity or decorum when they're on the field. Yesterday blew us away. Every player was sitting down on the sideline. Nobody roaming around.
No one roaming around, not too much talking. I mean, sitting down. Perfect.
I would like to tell you today's game is being directed